crowd, good morning. Good morning. All right, now we're talking. Good afternoon. My name is Shaem Spencer, and I want to welcome you all to District Court in Anne Arundel County. This is my office. I appreciate you coming to see me in my office. I want to tell you that I am so excited today. This is, for y'all, I know you're a month in school, but this is the first opportunity that the team behind me has been together. This is my team behind me. They're in and out of the room, but this is the first time we've been together this school year, and it's exciting for us. This is a field trip for us, too. Normally, we're doing other things in our normal everyday jobs, but our bosses are all here. They allowed us to do this program today and offer some information to you. So I'm going to tell you at the outset, we're going to have some fun today. I promise you we're going to have fun. We might cry a little bit today. It's okay, I might do. We're going to learn something today. And I hope you leave here today and you're thinking good things, but you leave here today, you learn one thing, to make a good choice. You're going to hear a lot and see a lot. Take it all in. If you have a question, at the appropriate time, respectfully ask that question, because there's a lot of resources behind me here. Lawyers, judges, administrative staff, the smart people who run this building, ER nurses, police officers, detectives, all of it. It's fabulous. We are going to talk to you about a myriad of things, a lot. A lot. It's all real. But what I would like you to do is take a time and just listen. I know I said that once already, I'm going to say it again. Just please listen for me. Now, Meade, where y'all at? Meade High School. Where am I? There they are. How are y'all? Everyone's good? Sullivan, I see you over here, right? How y'all doing? I'm great. And my Gophers, you all over here? Yes. I was just in Glen Burnie the other day. My office in Glen Burnie, on the second floor. I see your building all the time. Over there, I see Miss Hickman. Anybody know Miss Hickman? That's my girl. She gets me in the building all the time. So this is a program we put together. By we, I mean my team behind us. But we do it in partnership with the schools and the judiciary. Because we believe that together, we make great things happen. As I said, this is my office. This is what I do during the day. But I couldn't have this field trip with my team without the partnership of both the Board of Education and judiciary. So I've asked both those leaders to be here today because it's that important to them. My boss, his office is down the street, down off Riva. But every time I have this program, I send him an email or text, say, boss, can you come down? He's our Shaem, I'm already on the calendar, man. He believes in this program. He funds it, allows me to shut down my office, bring in a team and do this. It's that important to him. He's here, Chief Judge Morrissey. I'm going to ask him to welcome you, tell you why he believes in this program and what we do. Chief?
Great. Thank you, Shaem.
Thank you, sir.
You guys are kind of quiet. This isn't supposed to be quiet. Normally in a courtroom, our bailiffs will tell you guys to keep it down, turn your cell phones off. You're still supposed to turn your cell phones off, and if you don't, bad things can happen, right? But today's different, so feel free to jump in, participate, clap, cry, shout out when we ask you questions, okay? So my name's John Morrissey. I'm the Chief Judge of the District Court of Maryland. In that capacity, I supervise 128 judges. We're a statewide system that was created in 1971 as a result of a constitutional referendum. You guys know what a referendum is? It's a vote by you all. Anybody registered to vote yet? Well, I'm glad you guys are. I want to see soon, right? Exercise that right. It's an important right. The future is in front of you on these next elections, and I can't encourage you enough to, as soon as you're entitled to, make sure you register to vote and get out and vote. It's an important, I spent time in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and it's mandatory that they have to vote down there. They can be fined if they don't vote. I don't like that idea very much, right, of mandatory, but it is your privilege and your right, and I hope you exercise that right. I got off track already, okay? So I'm supposed to be talking about the schools. This program is wonderful. I hope you guys enjoy it. I have a 18-year-old that's a freshman at University of Maryland right now, and when he was a junior, he went through this program. I embarrassed him by showing pictures of him in his pajamas to everyone, but he still came out and grudgingly gave me, "That was a good program, Dad," when I asked him that evening. So the whole day today is designed about the choices that you guys are going to make. You had a choice this morning when you woke up as to what you were putting on. You have a choice as to what you eat. You also have a choice as to where you're going in your life, right, and what you're going to do. I'm sure you guys are all juniors, is that right? Everybody here a junior? Getting some nods? Everybody looking at colleges or thinking what you're going to do after you get out of high school? You looking at a college? That's awesome. You can never have enough education, right? That's how I got here. That's how Judge Spencer, that's how all these people in this room got here. And it wasn't always the funnest time in my life. I'm not sure I'd do law school again if I had to. But I did it, and I put my head down, and I said, this is going to be worth it in the long run. So the idea today is that you build a fence on the top of the cliff rather than having to have an ambulance show up at the bottom of the cliff. Does that make sense to you guys? If you decide to do things and you make choices, just the ask that I'm going to ask you guys today is take a minute to think about it, what you're doing. You don't have to be a hero, but if you find yourself at midnight someplace where things aren't going right, do something about it. Walk away. Get out of the situation. You can always make amends later on. You can explain it to your friends later on. Get out of the situation. Call your parents if you need to. I've always told my children, I think, Shaem, you do the same thing. I said, call them. There'll be no repercussions. I might yell at you a little bit, but I want to get you out of the situation that you're at. But if you don't feel comfortable calling your parents, call your uncle or your brother or your sister. Do something to get yourself out of it, because I wouldn't be here today if I made the wrong decisions when I was your guys' age. None of us would be here, because you can't become a judge, you can't become the chief judge if I had been arrested when I was 17 years old, or had gone to jail when I was 18, or made just a bad decision I made plenty of bad decisions, don't get me wrong, but I never made the big bad decisions, right? I could sense when, man, this is going south, I want to get out of here. So you're going to see some members of the police here today. Keep your mind open about police, right? There's been a lot of discussion about policing in the United States. In particular, in Baltimore City, you probably hear a lot about it, right? And what the police are doing. But the police's motto is they're here to serve, just like that's our motto, is to provide fair and efficient justice to everyone. We're public servants. We are to serve you all. So are the police. And the way that you react to the police is going to make all the difference in the world when you're in a situation. My parents taught me 10 and 2 for a reason. Anybody hear that? Hands are on the steering wheel, 10 and 2. That's because the police officers are probably afraid when they come to your car, because they don't know what you're doing. They don't know who you are. They don't know what's going on. It's probably dark. It's late. They may be in a part of town that's not good. And they want to make sure they can see your hands so that they're not in jeopardy of anything. And you treat each other with respect and kindness, and that's what you'll get in return. And that's what today is about. So I hope you enjoy today. I got to give all the credit to Judge Spencer and his team here in Anne Arundel County. They've put this program together. We have Judge Maliari. Where is Judge Maliari? You got to stand up for 1 second. Judge Maliari was the initiator of this program. He's now a senior judge, which means he's retired and has more wisdom than all of us. He still comes and sits, but he admirably served the county for how many years, Judge?
16.
16 years.
So this is my office part of the time.
Right. We don't have robe. We normally wear robes, but if you've ever worn a robe, it's awful to wear. I don't like wearing my robe. It makes you warm, but you have to wear it when we're actually presiding. You'll see Judge Spencer in his robe a little bit later on. But I hope you enjoy the day. Participate. Raise your hand. Ask questions. If you're not sure what's going on, we'll be happy to explain it to you. And good luck. Thank you guys for coming. We appreciate your time.
This is where the program gets a little bit dicey, because I always get to go after the boss, and he's always still behind me. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to correct him. You're going to make a mistake. I promise you, you're going to make a mistake. Let me see if he made one.
You just made a mistake.
Where's your coin?
I got mine.
I'm checking. See, I have mine. District Court, I got this from him, actually. I carry coins in my pocket, and he saw that, thought he'd one-up me, got me my own coin, District Court. I carry mine every day, all day, remind myself. This is right here in this office of mine is where justice starts. It starts at the front door when you walk in, those men in blue, women in blue. It ends here, but it starts down there. I tell you that because he said you might make a mistake. That's a bold-faced misstatement of the facts. You were gonna make a mistake, all of you. I try and catch him making a mistake not having his coin, because if he doesn't have his coin, he buys me lunch. And I'm good with that. You're gonna make a mistake. This is what I will tell you that when you leave here, I want you to do. When you make it, own it, and make it right. When you make a mistake, own it. Make it right away. What's that mean to you? I don't know yet. It could mean making a phone call. It could mean saying, I'm sorry. It could mean a lot of different other things. We'll get there. But when you make a mistake, own it. Don't think that anyone on this side of the aisle of the well has not made a mistake. All of us have. I make them every single day. I'm going to make one today. I'll make it right sometime. I'm going to have fun doing it. What's your name, man? Yes, you. Jerron? Trayvon, I'm Shaem. Where do you go to school? Where do you go to school, sir? Do you know this dude?
Yes, sir.
What's his name? I'll just make sure you knew. Are you in his class? What class are you in? What are you learning about? Come on, man. Let me tell you what you're learning about. See, I do my homework, man. You want me to tell you or you want to tell me? He's right there, get extra credit. This is tight. How come I don't have one of these yet? I like it. I don't have any selling swag. Oh, don't make promises old folks you can't keep. What's your name, man? What do you study in Mr. Brace's class? Different branches of government, maybe? His boss is here. Make him look good. What branch are you learning about right now? All of them legislative?
No, not branches.
Oh, not branches?
Like different departments of, like, CIA, FBI.
That's law enforcement type stuff. That's those guys back there. Have you learned about judiciary yet? No? Sorry? The government? Awesome. I tell you, I'm asking because it's important, because his boss is here, and I don't want him to get in trouble, so I'm trying to hook him up. But not only is Chief Judge Morrissey allowing me to do this program with this team that we've assembled, but Dr. McMahon, the superintendent, deputy superintendent, allow us to do this, and they allow you to come. Today, Meade, I'm very happy you were here because now you've come full circle. Not you, but we up here. Meade's never been to our program. It has been vital to us that every high school in this county comes to our program. We believe in it that much. In fact, Dr. McMahon told me last year, I promise you, Shaem, this year, every single high school in the county will be at the program. I'm gonna make it happen. This is our first one. She made it happen. Meade, you're here. I appreciate it because it's important. Frankly, I live in your neighborhood. I'm on that side of the world. I'm in your school on a regular basis. I pop in. I am, man. Yeah, your AP is Miss Kaya. Kava, what's your AP's name? Yeah. I got a pass from her. I walk in, I show my pass now, Dr. McMahon. I get in, I'm in the building, and I have free reign. Your SRO used to be an officer down in Western, now he's there. I walk the building with him all the time. So I'm gonna come check you all out. I tell you all this because Dr. McMahon has allowed this to happen. And she's here because she believes in our program, what we do, and the impact it has. I was talking to her back here before we came on, and she was like saying this is something that we need to keep growing. I'm like, we can't grow more than that. I only got 4 times a year. Boss said I have to do real work. I said, this is real work, boss. He said, Shaem, 4 times a year is enough. I said, okay, we'll film it. Dr. Mann's here on behalf of the Board of Education. I want to give her a moment to thank you, but also for you to thank her for letting this happen. This is a field trip that I think is above and beyond just going to some museum. This is real life AP life class, as I like to call it. Dr. McMahon, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I can't tell you how glad I am because you know what? We learn a lot every day. There's a lot of teachers in the room and I thank you for being here. And you prep every day to give these young people an amazing experience. But we know that it's not just inside the walls. It's outside the walls. And we know that it's not just teachers, but it's the whole community that makes a difference in the lives of young people. So when Judge Spencer said, I hope you listen today, I know you'll laugh. I know some of you will cry. I hope all of you think. Because honestly, it's all about the decisions you make every day that is going to make a difference in your world. And we know that Anne Arundel County Public Schools, great place. Gophers, Mustangs, Bulldogs, it doesn't matter. It just matters that you're healthy and happy, and that every day you're trying to be just a little bit better than the last day. And leave it just a little bit better than you found it. So with that, I want you to see all this, and I want to stop talking and just say, think and take him up on his offer. If you have questions, ask them. And afterwards, ask your teachers. Thank you.
We have mostly juniors here. Juniors? Any sophomores? Yes. Any seniors? Yes. Anybody driving? Yeah. You got your license? Provisional? Anybody have their license? A full-on license? She does. You do? What's your name? I'm sorry to hear you. John? You got a car? You can borrow my car? I'll give you my keys, man. Why not? I trust you. You trust me? You trust my car? I got insurance. Man, I got good insurance, State Farm. You want to drive my car? Why?
I don't want to be, what happens if it crashes?
Well, you're going to be careful. You're not going to crash. No? Anybody with a license want to drive my car? Uh-oh. She was quick right there. What's your name? Gabrielle, you want to drive my car? Right, come on. Hey, come on out. Come on, Gabrielle. Let's go to my car. Come on. All right.
Oh, man.
Come here. Sit down right here, Gabrielle. This is my car right here. Come here. Be the front seat, love.
Front seat.
Here, you be the driver. Now, theoretically, I'll let Gabrielle drive my car, but it's outside, but so we can't see it outside, so I'll let Gabrielle drive my car here. Anybody else want to go to ride Gabrielle? Y'all know Gabrielle? No. You want to meet her? No. You want to meet her? You do? Come on. What's your name? Jamie. Gabrielle, Jamie. Jamie, Gabrielle. Jump. Let's go for a ride. Jamie, where do you go to school? Southern. Where are you at? Glen Burnie? Anybody know Jamie and Gabrielle? You want to meet them? Huh? Now you want to drive? No, hold on. Now you want to drive? What the heck? All of a sudden, now you want? Hold on. You don't even know them. What is your name, my friend? New College. You know them?
Nope. I just get in them. It's a free ride.
Okay. It's a free ride. Anybody want to go? Come on, man. You going for a ride with me? What's your name?
Matthew?
Matthew, jump in. It's a free ride. Matthew, Mckay, Valerie, and Jamie going for a ride. In my opinion, every ride has to have good music. Right? What do you want to hear? Some country? Opera? We got something. Look at the road, not me. What are you doing? Y'all got your seatbelts on? Oh my Lord. Anybody over here want to be in law enforcement, want to be an officer, police officer? You do? Come on. Come help me. I need an officer. I need a police officer. This car is swerving. Is she dancing? Be the cop. Pull him over. Come on. Here, pull that car over. What are you looking at? The road. Jamie, tell her to look at the road, please. Why are you looking at me? What are you looking at? What is your name? What's your name? Gabrielle, what are you doing? Okay. Is your jam? Why is she shaking it? Come on. Get on it. Come on. Uh-oh. What's in your rear view? You see lights and sirens behind you? I see sirens behind you. You better pull over.
time for a car stop. 3900 block Tyler.
Hey, Officer.
How are you doing? Good. I'm Officer Mckay, Annapolis Police. The reason I stopped your vehicle was swerving all over the road.
I wouldn't say I was swerving. No.
All right. Have you had anything to drink tonight or anything like that? No? All right. Where you coming from?
I was picking them up. They was at the house party.
Okay.
They was drinking, I wasn't drinking.
So do you have your ID on you? Do you have a driver's license on you? Okay. That's not a light.
It is.
You don't have a license on you? No? Do you have ID on you? No? You don't have ID on you? Do you have ID on you? No? No. You? No. And do you have a license at all?
Yeah.
Are you sure you have a license?
No.
Hey, gentlemen, I'm gonna right here, pausing my story right here. At this point, Officer Mckay, Sergeant Vaden pulled over a vehicle. It's occupied with 4 individuals. The front woman in the driver's seat told Officer Mckay, I wasn't drinking, they were. First thing out of her mouth. He's now asked them all for the license and ID. They have nothing. Officer Mckay, what are you gonna do?
Right now, I'm going to remove her from the vehicle.
Why?
Right now, I don't know what's going on. She can't produce an ID. No one in the car has an ID. So I'm going to remove them from the vehicle right now to determine what's going on.
The purpose is educating us, those who drive and are not law enforcement. Why is Sergeant Vaden here?
Sergeant Vaden is the backup officer for myself.
So you pulled the car over, it was occupied 4 times. You saw that, you asked her to come.
Yes, I need a backup officer. It was just myself. I'm the only officer there with 4 people. At that point, it's 1 against 4. Something were to go down.
And Officer Mckay, at this point, you have no ID, no license. What do you have to do?
No, right now I have to extract them from the car. So I need you. Can you stand up, please? Can you get out of the car? You can take your seatbelt off. Come with me.
Officer Vaden, what is that on the seat? Do you know?
I don't know. And I was actually just getting ready to call it out to Officer Mckay that there's something on the front seat.
All right. Do me a favor right now until we figure out.
Everyone else needs to keep their hands up where I can see them.
I'm going to put these on. We figure out.
Sergeant Vaden, you can pull them all out?
Oh yeah, they're all coming out.
All right, ma'am, I need you to get out for me, please.
At this point, we would probably have another officer on scene as well. Because we're still outnumbered. There's still 4 of you and only 2 of us.
Ladies and gentlemen, while we do that, I'm going to turn now to a public defender, a defense lawyer who's here to help me today, help me understand. This is my friend, Miss Tiffany Holley, also public defender. She helps me in this program. Miss Holley, I have a question. Sergeant Vaden and Officer Mckay pulling 4 individuals out of the car. Are you okay with this so far?
No, I'm not.
Why?
Because at this point in time, I would argue that they don't have reasonable articulable suspicion to believe that a crime is occurring, certainly not probable cause to arrest. And I would argue that they're being detained, put in handcuffs, that they're under arrest.
Oh, but then the other side of the world. I'm on this side now. I'm going to go to the state. Mr. Lerner, there's 4 individuals, no license, no ID. There's something on the seat there that Officer Mckay and Sergeant Vaden couldn't figure out. He's pulling them out of the car, just put them on the curb. Are you okay with this?
I'm okay with that. He's got the absolute right to pull anybody out of the car at any time that he wants to once they've been lawfully stopped. At this point, there's 4 of them. There's 1 of him. They're not under arrest. They're just being detained right now. For his safety, he's allowed to pull them out of the car whenever he wants.
Judge Morrissey?
Judge Spence, what about there was some kind of statement that the driver made about everybody else?
You mean the alcohol?
Right.
I mean,
what about, aren't there constitutional rights, Madam Public Defender, about remaining silent?
There are when you're under arrest.
but was she under arrest, Ms. Holley?
She was not.
So, Officer Mckay, Sergeant Vaden, there's something in there that dropped out of the young lady's pants or pocket or whatever it is. They're all out there. It's 10:30 at night here in Annapolis. What are we going to do now?
Right now, I have them detained, and I don't know what's going on yet in the vehicle, but to help me with this, There was an odor, a faint odor of something else in the car. I'm not exactly sure what it was. It smelled like it may have been marijuana. Not sure.
Fair. What are you gonna do?
At this point, I'm going to call say that's dog.
Fair enough. So he's gonna call for a canine unit. Ms. Holley, he's gonna call for a canine. It's been about 10 minutes. Are you okay with this?
Depending on the time, so he's got the right to call for a canine, and if he is sitting on the side of the road trying to figure out who these people are, the state, I imagine, and the officers would say it's totally fine because they have an ongoing investigation that's occurring. I would obviously argue that you're being detained, that the length of time is too long, but I would probably lose that argument at this point in time.
Awesome. Okay, you call canine? So, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to watch the canine and his handler. Ma'am, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me now. What did he do? Huh, it's weird. Now what? Ladies and gentlemen, this is my good friend, Trooper Justin Fohs. That's his partner, Euro. Yeah, tell me your name, please, ma'am. Shelby Jones just told me that Euro sat. Trooper Fohs, Euro sat. Now what?
Now it's a possible alert from the presence of narcotics, so we're going to search the car.
You believe, based on him just sitting there's something in that car?
Well, not just to sit, the way he closed his mouth, started breathing through his nose, and his tail started wagging a little faster, and he started popping at that bag.
Oh.
That the way his nose was popping at that bag.
So you're probably going to search just that bag then, I'm saying.
No. We're going to search the car front to back.
But it's my car. She didn't even hold it.
Right.
Gabrielle said she borrowed my car.
It's okay.
Miss Holley, we're going to search the whole car.
Go right ahead.
Mr. Lerner, you good with that too? Absolutely. Awesome. Okay, let's search that car, buddy. Uh-oh. So the canine made an alert for the trooper, something in that vehicle. Officer McKay now has the right, according to the law, so the state told me, to search the whole car. Just the glove box, Officer McKay?
No, I'm going to go
Trunk?
front to back, the trunk, under the hood, rip the seats apart, rip the dash apart.
What did you get?
It's got a backpack here with some high school, some clothes in it, and
Whose bag belong to? It's yours? What are we gonna find in this bag?
I don't know, check.
He said check. That's a consent search. What do you got?
it's a large bag of what appears to be, yeah, you're right, Schedule 1 narcotic heroin.
A little bit? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to interrupt you so you can hear me now. Officer McKay said he searched the bag, found some heroin in the bag. Personal use type of heroin or?
No, not personal use, that's definitely distribution.
Your bag.
Are you going to charge just the young man whose bag it is?
No, I'm going to charge this young man, I'm going to charge the person that was sitting in the back, I'm going to charge the person that was sitting in the front, and I'm also going to charge the driver.
Oh,
That's all of them in case you guys get it.
So, are you going to look at the whole bag too?
Yes, sir.
So, Ms. Holley, we have evidence that's real live witnesses. Sometimes we have things called circumstantial evidence, right?
Yes.
And this bag, the man said we could search it, so the state's going to search it. Mr. Lerner, there's something from Southern. Who goes to Southern?
Not me.
There appears to be something from Glen Burnie. Let me guess. Maybe it's me. So let me get this straight. There is evidence, Mr. Lerner, circumstantial, that these 3 schools or someone from those schools were in that car. Can we use that in trial?
Absolutely.
Judge Morris, does that come in? It's just a sweatshirt.
If the proper foundation is laid, absolutely.
So, who goes to Southern? Uh-oh. And who goes to me? Uh-oh. And who goes to Glen Burnie? Uh-oh. So now she denies going to me, but gun burning, who cares? She's driving the car. She said they were drinking. Anybody 21? Uh-oh. He said it's his bag.
I said it's my bag. I didn't put anything in.
His bag ended up in my car. Weird, right? So, Officer McKay, Sergeant Vaden, you're going to charge them all with misdemeanors, let them go home?
No, sir, we're charging them with felonies.
Oh. So, it's Friday night, 10 o'clock after a house party. They go home on Friday by midnight?
No, we lock them up on Friday. They're going to be processed at our station. They're going to go to the city court.
Let's take them. So, Judge Morrissey, it's Friday night. They're going to sit in there. So they see you on Saturday. You're coming Saturday morning to give them bail review?
Well, no, I don't. Actually, there's commissioners. So we have about 400 commissioners that work 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. There's a commissioner's office right downstairs in the basement of this building. They're judicial officers, just like I'm a judge, and they'll make a determination as to whether they're going to release you or not. Now, they release about 56% of the people statewide. In Annapolis, it's a little bit higher. But about 42% of the people are going to be detained, and they're going to sit in jail from Friday night until Monday afternoon or Monday morning when we do a bail review.
I'll see you Monday at 10:30, Judge. We'll have a bail review. Between now and then, they'll be at the jail?
They will be incarcerated in lockup at the jail.
So the commissioner will be there, and or a judge. We'll have to think about things like, well, is your mom and dad answering the phone 10 o'clock? Is your mom and dad going to come so they can pick you up because you can't drive home? Do you have prior criminal history, juvenile record, and a charge? And I believe Mr. Lerner said he was going to charge them with a felony. All of them?
All of them.
All four of them?
All four.
That felony carries, I haven't been downtown in a while, Ms. Holley, but is that 20 years, something like that? 20-year max?
For each.
For each?
If there's different drugs, if there's paraphernalia, I mean,
All of them?
Everything.
Anybody of my students have a problem with that so far?
Yeah.
Why? Tell me why. It wasn't their fault? Who chose to drive the car? Who? Gabrielle chose to drive the car. Who chose to get in the car with Gabrielle?
Well, it was a free ride, right?
Free ride.
So,
Jamie got in the car with free ride.
how many times have you guys ever gotten in a car that you don't know who the people are getting in the car? Besides Uber or a taxi.
I heard someone over here earlier say they're not getting in the car because they don't know that person, which I appreciate and applaud.
I don't just hop in the car.
Well, let's listen to this now. They all got in the car randomly under our scenario. They all got stopped. They all get charged. And guess where it goes after that? To the intraweb. Ms. Chester, so they get charged, and it's just probably in a paper file in your office. You'll see it on Monday, right? It's in paper file on Monday. Yes. And then no one else sees it ever, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh.
See it.
Who sees it? Who can see it?
Anyone that wishes to see it. It's public record.
It's on the Maryland, what is that?
The case search. It's on
Case
Maryland.
search, imagine that. So if you wanted to, you could just Google someone's name tomorrow and see that Gabrielle had charge.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Her friends can see it.
And
neighbors.
it's all there. We can see distribution of Schedule I narcotics.
That's correct.
It's on the record. Well, at least it's on the intraweb. And how long is it there? Until it's over or adjudicated, right?
Until it's adjudicated.
Huh.
Until it's expunged. It's there forever.
Wow.
It's just right over here. Judge Spencer, how is it that Euro is able to figure out the drug?
I was going to ask Trooper Fohs, how did Euro know what to do in there? Or why did he know to go sit right there?
Based on our training together, he's trained to alert to the presence of odor narcotics at the source, which means Euro will keep working until he gets as close as he possibly can to a trained odor.
And I think you said it wasn't just the sit was what we saw, but you saw something before
Yeah,
that.
the sit looks good for court. The sit is the final response that he gives, but his behavior changes are what I see that makes me know that he is smelling his trained odors. The closing of the mouth, start breathing through his nose. His tail starts wagging just a little bit faster. He started popping. His nose started popping real good. He started really working the seams of the seats there.
And as a reward for doing that, what do you give him? Biscuit, treats?
Nope, this ball right here. This ball right here is his life.
That's it.
Literally all he cares about.
And when you train him, and he wants that.
That ball only.
And so, in our scenario, this is open. But let's put it in real life. It's in a car. The bag's in a trunk. In the trunk is underneath the spare tire. It's all closed up. Will you ever still smell that? Or?
As long as there's odor available to the dog, then he should, as long as there's odor available to the dog, he'll be able to detect.
Like air.
As long as there's air coming out of the vehicle.
What if I have one of those scent things, like the trees that I see them sell at the gas station?
So air fresheners and coffee grounds and dryer sheets and any of that other nonsense that people try to put in their cars to distract the dogs. Sometimes it actually makes it easier for the dogs because they're able to throw out those smells.
How does Euro break the smells out?
Your favorite terminology is the beef stew theory. So when you guys go to when you get home from school or whatever and your mom's cooking beef stew, you guys smell beef stew, right? Well, for the dog's able to break that down to every single odor. So the dog can smell the beef, the broccoli, the whatever. Every ingredient, celery, carrots, broth, the meat, everything that goes into that beef stew, he can smell individually. Whereas you guys smell it as one thing, he's able to break everything down and smell it individually, so he can throw out the odors that he doesn't need.
And what drugs is Euro trained on?
Marijuana, heroin, cocaine, ecstasy, and methamphetamines.
Yes, ma'am.
Was that real heroin or was it like a fraud?
No, we train with real stuff.
Didn't you see our bailiff immediately come over and take that away? That's a Schedule I drug. We don't mess around with that. So.
What if I put my heroin in an airproof container?
If they're...
Can you repeat it so everybody can hear that?
She said, what if she puts something in an airtight container? The thing is, if there's odor available to the dog will be able to smell it. If the odor is not available, the dog won't smell it. It's plain and simple. I mean, you can, there's things that can be airtight all day long, but if there's odor still available to him, he'll get it, which is why we use dogs, because you might not be able to smell it. He can still smell it.
What if I have, or she, let's put it better, she has her heroin in her car, but she takes it out and takes it and sells it on the street, but there's a stop there, Euro alerts. Does that mean there's no drugs?
No, it just means that there's still residual, some kind of odor left over that might still be somewhere that he's getting. Like I said, as long as there's odor available to him from however it was, whatever, maybe it was airtight, but maybe you touched the bag and then touched the airtight bag.
So when somebody smokes in your car and 3 days later you're in there and you get pulled over, it's still in the headliner and you can still smell that, right?
Absolutely. As long as if you're not cleaning out your stuff or you're letting your friends or you yourself smoking marijuana in the car, as long as it's still illegal in Maryland.
It is still illegal, right? To smoke and drive?
Absolutely.
Just checking.
I thought you were allowed to have 10 grams.
If you're over 21,
It's a civil infraction. It's still going to be on your record. It's still going to be on case search.
You can still be charged with driving under the influence, though.
let's take a different step. Hold on, I got that. I got you, Chief. So if I have 9.9 grams of marijuana, civil infraction, I pay a fine. That's true?
That's right.
All right, so let's just take this young lady right here. She's an A student.
Of course.
She has nothing on her record, but she has that civil infraction for smoking that little bit of marijuana she had at her school. And then we take this young man right here, also an A student, perfect record, high SAT, nothing on his record, no marijuana citation. I ask you, my students, when you're applying for that job or a school or financial aid, who is that job, that boss, that school gonna take? Her or him? Weed smoker or my man right here? That's right. That's right. I'll take it a step further. That civil infraction, Ms. Chester, does not stay on there. We can't expunge that civil infraction.
That's correct.
You get charged with having marijuana, it's there. I'm gonna see it for the rest of your life. I recognize the civil infraction, I see it.
How about with the DWI?
It's there and does not go away. I don't care if you're 50 down the road, that judge can look up your record real time and see it and know it's there. And I asked this prosecutor, I want to make sure we're crystal clear, all of you students can have no alcohol in your system because you can't drink, contrary to law. And no matter what anyone tells you, civil infraction or not, it's a criminal infraction exposing you to 1 year in jail for smoking and driving. Oh, and P.S., our legislative branch just passed a law, thank them, thank you for your work on that downtown, 21, to buy cigarettes and a Juul. 21. Anybody 21 besides a student 21? Please don't tell me yes. Good job. I joke a lot, but right now I'm being very serious. Make a good choice. Having that little bit of marijuana or that buddy of yours, who a person you don't know, in your car smoking that marijuana, gets you charged. Gabrielle came out. Don't get me wrong. I saw her walk over here, and don't think that she didn't see it. The bailiff in the back of the courtroom didn't see it. Bobby George over here didn't see it, and Mckay saw it. We all saw it. First impressions go a long way. Walking like this. When I do my job, I sit up there, up high, and I can see everything in the courtroom. When I do my job, Bobby George is the bailiff. He runs this building. He's up here front. He has a man or woman in the back running the courtroom. There's a guard right here and probably an armed officer over there. And the prosecutor watches you walk in. So don't think that when I saw those four walk in, I didn't see Gabrielle do this. I know what this means. I know it's a letter in the American Sign alphabet. What letter is this? I don't even know. See, I love y'all. You're smart people. So maybe she's saying F U to B. I don't know. But let me ask you a question. When I'm sitting up there and I'm doing a bail review, and she says, yes, sir, Your Honor, I'd like to go home. I'm an A student. My mom loves me. And he says, yes, sir, Your Honor, my dad loves me. I'm an A student. Yes, Your Honor, I'm an A student. And she says, what's up? She still laughs. But guess what? In the back of my mind, I'm thinking she don't care. She has no interest. This is not for real. She's not taking it seriously. You know what, Miss Holley? No bond. She's a flight risk because she knows I'm putting her in jail one day. So on Monday, they all go home. Gabrielle walks in doing her thing. All cute, right? She goes to jail for a little bit longer. You think I joke. You think I jest. Ask the man. He's right here. Does the same thing I do every day, all day. Judge, you see that walking in, or you see somebody walking in and the shirt says, big weed leaf. Or it says, F the police. Or it says, the finger, not this one, on their shirt. As opposed to, or the young man who walks in and has a tie on and stands over here and says, yes, sir, and thank you. Who goes home, the weed leaf or the man with a tie?
Definitely plays into it. It definitely plays into it. Let me ask you a question, Judge Spencer. If you put somebody in no bond, how can that person get out of jail prior to trial?
Well, Ms. Holley files a writ of habeas corpus, they go to downtown circuit court, or they ask for a second bail review because they've hired a lawyer, and Ms. Holley will probably come into the jail and speak to Gabrielle. And what would you say to Gabrielle when she comes in?
To put on a nice outfit and keep her mouth shut and smile.
Judge Morrissey referred to it earlier, and I want to just get right to it right now, the crux of one of the reasons why we're here. Because I guarantee you that on a regular basis, you don't have the opportunity to speak to someone like this man, or that woman, or that man. I do. And they're here. I give you a chance to ask them questions. Before you go there, I'm going to piggyback on what he said. I watch the news just like you. I read the papers every day. There are some bad actors out there in the world, in every job, every profession, including my own. I've had to walk to the principal's office, sit down in the chair and say, Chief, I messed up. I'm sorry. Won't happen again. I'm humble. I'll admit it. Chief says, Shaem, it's all right. Get better. Make it right. And I do. I tell you that because there's going to be a day that man makes a mistake. That sergeant, she'll make a mistake. She's human. What I beg and implore you to do, let that man do his job and call balls and strikes. Because every day he says, you know what, Sergeant Vaden, that was a bad stop. I'm gonna dismiss this charge, throw the evidence out, because Ms. Holley argued to me the law, and she's right on the law. When that happens, she says, thank you, goes, does her job. I'm just like you, so is he. Frankly, so is he, so is she, so is Officer Mckay. This is their day job.
What do you guys think the odds of are you winning an argument with a police officer at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're pulled over in Glen Burnie? Right? That's not really where you want to make the argument, even if you think that you're being not treated appropriately or according to the law. That gentleman has a gun, this sergeant has a gun. That's not the place to make the argument. The place is in front of us when you come here. That's what our jobs are. And we take it real seriously. You know, we're kind of lighthearted and joking right now, but you can imagine the responsibility that I have. I've been doing this for 15 years now, of sentencing someone to jail. I don't like doing it. I don't know. You like doing it?
It is the worst part of my job, Judge.
It has to happen sometimes because there's some bad people out there, but a lot of it depends on kindness and respect. And if you practice kindness and respect, you're going to get it back tenfold.
I tell you that because if you want to ask the officer a question on why so-and-so happens, here they are. This is real life. Real life. I actually drove my truck today, realistically, but I didn't drive my wife's car. I had to go get the oil change. I didn't. But I didn't come in town because I knew I'd see this dude. And I am remiss, and I openly admit this, that tags, I didn't really renew them in time, so her tags were dead. So she was driving around on dead tags, and that was my fault. But Sergeant Vaden, she's here. I knew she'd be here, so I didn't drive her van today. But last night, I did get online and updated it and got the new printout, so it's valid now, so you can't stop me.
You need a new car, by the way.
I need a raise, Chief.
I walked into that one, didn't I?
I tell you this because you know what? I have got stops too. I will get stopped again in my life. It's gonna happen. I simply give that man, that woman my license, registration, and move along. Because you know what? If they're wrong, I'm walking right down to her office. I'm sitting on her couch. I say, how are we gonna do this? I wanna be found not guilty. If she does something wrong, that is on her. Frankly, what you don't know is before we even get to these trials, she comes in sometimes and says to the prosecutor, you know what, Mr. Lerner, Ms. Holmes, my bad. You know what? I thought I had X, Y, and Z here. I don't. Can you go ahead and dismiss this case? And the state stands up and says, you know what? We're good. Dismissed. Have a nice day, Shaem. I'm home. I will tell you that. I'll tell you this. Just like you, I have a high school student. They're gonna make a mistake. Honest mistake, they're human. Thieves go to jail. Criminals, they go to jail. He said it. There are bad cops, they go to jail. They go to jail too. There are bad judges, they've been to jail. I don't want to go, but there are bad students. Doesn't mean you're all bad. As far as I'm concerned, you're all great because you're here listening to us. I gotta get Euro out of here because he's getting ready to play some more. So before Trooper Fohs, Sergeant Vaden, Officer Mckay leave me, do you want to ask them any questions about what they do, why they do it, about Euro, what he does, what Euro does with Trooper Fohs? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I thought that you couldn't search someone just because of smell. I thought there was a new law that passed that you can't do it if it's not good intent.
Search because of what?
Smell.
She says you can't search because you smell.
So in this case, so there is case law that deals now with the odor of marijuana in a car. But in this case, if you remember, that's why the pattern, the facts are kind of different. So Officer Mckay saw something on the seat, right? It could be a weapon, it could be other things. That's why they brought for the canine, right? And when the canine alerts, the canine didn't say, oh, this is marijuana, right? Or, oh, this is heroin. So they're still gonna then search and see what it is. Does that make sense? So, you know, yes, the law has changed with regard to just the odor of marijuana and, hey, I smell weed, I wanna search you. That's, you know, changed. But the facts in our case was very different with regard to the fidgeting, not knowing your name, not knowing each other, where you're coming from, no IDs.
They were drinking, I wasn't drinking.
They were drinking, they're swerving all over the road. You know, so the facts, there's a lot of other reasons there that get you to the canine search.
I want to take a step further for you though. in your vehicle on the road, around the outside of your vehicle, public property, right? Let's say it's on your driveway. Is there any privacy expectation on the road, in the vehicle, around that area right there?
So it's a warrantless search, but the officers are allowed to bring the officer around your car. The law gets into how long you're detained and what goes with that, but it's no different than if you're in school and they have a canine come and walk the halls of the school, right? You don't have any expectation of privacy there, so if they alert while you're walking down the hall, too bad. So if they alert outside of your car, there's some other things that go into that, but they're allowed to do that.
So they can just do a full search.
If you're alert. So in our scenario, Trooper Fohs is here in a matter of minutes. In a real life scenario, Trooper Fohs may be 30 minutes out. 30 minutes still good?
Probably not. Maybe with 4 people, no IDs, maybe, but in a normal stop, no.
An hour.
Probably not.
She says no. They can't make you wait for an hour, but they have to do what's reasonable. So Officer Mckay and Sergeant Vaden have to run 4 individual names. They have to get their names, date of birth, run through a warrant check, see if they have a license, see who they are. That's calling in Gabrielle, we'll call her F. And they have to run her date of birth. If that takes 30 minutes and he's there in 30 minutes, dog walks around the car, he alerts, he's searching that car.
How'd you know about that? That's great that you know. I'm proud of you for knowing that, huh?
That's recent, so he's saying it's a good thing, he's proud of you. He's not saying he's smoking weed.
Yeah, no, I think it's great that you know that. It's
yes, ma'am.
Actually, the law's not entirely clear all the time. So there's a case that came up about 2 years ago that said the police officers have the right to search the car on the smell of marijuana, burnt marijuana. The most recent case that just happened about a month ago said the officer can't just walk up to you because you smell of an odor of marijuana and search your person.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between like a car, right? It's not a live being. You can search the car. Besides, then if you're going to search your person, there's a different privacy right that you have on your body as opposed to your property. It's a very fine distinction. Some people scratch their head at how they made that distinction because my boss isn't in the room right now, and I didn't really say that out loud. So the whole law is, there's a movement right now to legalize marijuana. I don't know whether you guys agree with that or not, and the legislature may act on it. I don't think they're going to do it this year, but perhaps next year. But you know, I just caution everybody, anything that you take into your body that is a burnt item, whether it's a jewel or marijuana, has carcinogenic effects to it. The science is there. Read up on it. Go down one of those wormholes when you're online and read about it. I do it all the time. I get sucked in by those ads, right? And I find out about all sorts of stupid stuff. It takes up space in my brain, but this is important stuff. You want, when you're 18, not to put junk in your body that's going to cause you cancer when you're 40, right? Because it is. People are dying from jewels right now. I don't know if you guys have been reading about that, because it's getting into your lungs and it affects your lungs. You know, it's not good. It's like polluting, right? I don't care what you put into the air. You put more crap in the air, we're going to get problems.
And like in your question, just to follow up with that, the time that you get to make that argument is way down the road, right? You've already been arrested, you've already missed school, you've already been expelled or God knows what, you've already lost out on sports, scholarships, everything. By the time you get to me, I may be able to make that argument to a judge and your charges may all get dismissed and everything, but what happened in that meantime can have serious consequences.
And keep in mind, you guys are juniors, so you're going to be applying for financial aid or colleges or jobs coming forward like next year as you go in your senior year. If they're charged today, how soon are they going to go to trial?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months for the felonies. They got to get indicted. It's going to take time.
8 months down the road before you get the matter resolved. And once resolved, if she does her job great, it can be expunged. 8 months down the road, though, when you're still applying, schools can still see it, and you have to report it because it's still an active case. Yes, ma'am.
So I have a question. So when they arrest us and then question us, can they question us because we're underage and we need either a guardian or a lawyer?
Did they question you back there? Did you admit to it? Did you admit to it? Ms. Holley, they want to know if there be questions back there when they get arrested.
So like I would argue, you know, when they put you here in handcuffs and then they're searching the car and they're like, whose backpack is that? I would scream up and down and jump and yell, don't say anything, because I would argue that you were under arrest at that point in time. You're not free to go, you're detained, you're in handcuffs, you're in the side of the road, so they should be Mirandizing you. That's the rights you're talking about.
Were they arrested?
Not at that point. Once they went back there and came
things
back,
can argue
but
they
sitting
want.
on the
But
side
back
of the
here,
road,
yeah.
4 of them, 2 officers, they're not arrested right there.
Yes, ma'am. That's his kid. Justin, where's the dog go?
My house.
And where does the other dog go?
My house.
And the other one?
My house.
He has 3 dogs, a bomb dog, a drug dog, and the heir apparent. Yes, ma'am.
So if you get pulled over and you were smoking, how can you tell someone is like using drugs and like is high?
Anybody?
Standardized field sobriety.
And they're specialized police officers called drug recognition experts that sometimes get called in to interview people who have been operating a vehicle to determine whether they're under the influence of narcotics.
And they'll make note of glassy, red, bloodshot eyes, how your speech is, if you can, the reason they ask for like your license and your they ask for multiple things to see how you respond to commands, if you respond appropriately. That's all part of testing you to see if you're under the influence.
They spend 40 hours in the academy being certified to be in the field sobriety tests.
It's just as easy for us to detect somebody under the influence of a drug as it is alcohol. Sergeant Vaden will attest to it. She was one of our drug recognition officers. So if we suspected that someone may have been under the influence of marijuana, then I would have called Sergeant Vaden, and she would have run them through a series of standardized tests to determine if they were under the influence of marijuana per se, not just alcohol. And the process is the exact same thing with arresting you and coming to trial and convictions, the same as it would be as alcohol.
Yes, ma'am.
I have 2 questions.
Well, start with one for me.
Can you get arrested for having medical marijuana in your car?
Do you have a license? Is it on your person? And are you able to have one legally at your age?
It's not you. Can someone get arrested for having medical marijuana?
Maybe Fred, let's talk about you. You in that car happened to belong to me, it's his bag, but you're sitting on it, he's arresting you. And you know what, I may have a license at home that says I can smoke the weed because I have a license for whatever medical reason I need it for. But if you have my weed in my car, in his bag, and they stop you, you're getting arrested. If you are able to legally have a medical unlicensed marijuana license card, I suggest you have it on your person all the time. Because if you don't, they don't know that, and they're gonna charge you right then and there and deal with it later.
And it's still illegal, even if you have medical marijuana, a license, it's still illegal to drive while you're under the influence of it.
And if you're driving around and you don't have your license and you have your stash of marijuana, they don't think you're smoking, they think you're selling. They're gonna charge you with that felony immediately and deal with it later. Yes, ma'am.
Can law enforcement see someone's juvenile record as an adult?
See it or seize it? Can you pull up the juvenile record?
I can.
See what he said? He doesn't know on the street. When you get charged, he sees it all. He's the prosecutor, one of the prosecutors.
Can you see it, Chin?
I cannot. I cannot see it. However, when I come to a bail review, the prosecutors who come to my courtroom, Ms. Holmes comes all the time, and she brings your juvenile record and your criminal record and your motor vehicle record, and she tells me that they called your mom, they can't find your mom because your mom's at work when you got charged, so they have nowhere to confirm where you live. We can't confirm where she lives. She had a felony, and we have no adult. What are we gonna do with her?
It's not good.
They're gonna hold you.
Yep. Let me ask you this, Judge. Do you research, like you get ready and you prepare your dockets, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you research each individual and their background before it comes into your courtroom?
For bail review or for trial?
For trial.
No, sir, I look at nothing.
Why not?
Because I think that I have to have a clean slate in my mind. I think that you are all presumed innocent. The burden's on them to prove each and every element of the offense beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't know the facts. I don't know. All I know is the state versus John Morrissey, and I know the charges, Judge. The state tells me the charge. They're going to prove it during the opening, the elements of the offense, and we go from there.
Right.
I know nothing. All I know is that your name is John Morrissey, and you're here for trial, and I don't know why. The state must come forward with their case and prove everything. Or you may talk to Ms. Holley and say, you know what, I was wrong. I did that. Let's figure this out. Yes, sir? Hold on. Time out. A situation?
Yes.
Do you want to speak to her privately?
No. Say for example, right? Say for example.
You have a friend.
He has a friend.
He has a friend.
Say for example, I am driving a vehicle with a family member who has marijuana, right? And I drop them off at a location, but odor of marijuana is still in the vehicle. What happens in that situation?
They're going to search the car if they smell it.
Yeah, but you won't be charged, right? I mean, the odor is in possession. Does that make sense? You could still they could still search the car and alert to it and everything, but if they don't find something, you can't just be charged with the odor of, I mean, that's not a crime.
Trooper Sergeant, you're not looking to arrest every single person you pull over, are you?
No, absolutely not.
I mean, there's the common sense that goes to it. It's just like, I don't want to put somebody in jail unless it has to happen because the law demands it. If there's reasonable doubt in my mind, if I have to get off the bench and ask Judge Spencer, we do this all the time with each other. What do you think? I'm going to tell you this factual scenario. What do you think about that? You know what he's going to say to me? Can you guess?
If you're thinking about it, then they're not guilty, Judge.
That's exactly what he's going to say. You already decided it because you had to ask me a question about it, so you can't be convinced beyond a reasonable doubt. Police officers don't want to arrest people unless it's absolutely necessary. I don't need to speak for you guys, but I don't want. I can attest myself. I don't want to put someone in jail unless I absolutely have to. It's not a good thing.
One more.
I want to see you guys succeed in life. That's my job. I want to make sure you guys do well.
That's why we're here. Yes, sir. One more question, because they got to go.
If it's a form of like CBD oil or something, would you still not be allowed to drive?
If you're under the influence of it?
You can't drive under the influence of any kind of alcohol, narcotic. You can't operate a vehicle safely. I don't even know why we're having this conversation about every hypothetical situation. If you're under the influence of something, you cannot drive a vehicle. If you're under the influence of something, you probably shouldn't drive a forklift. Maybe not even a bicycle.
Or both.
It's not smart. If you're taking medical marijuana, that's fine. That's fine and dandy. Stay at home. Sit on your couch. Smoke your medical marijuana and do whatever you got to do. But you get behind the wheel of a car, you're going to get arrested if you get pulled over. It's just going to happen. You know how many accidents we've seen with people under the influence of alcohol, marijuana? I handled a 4-vehicle fatal accident on Route 50 for 3 teenagers driving the wrong way on Route 50. Hit another car head on at 85 miles an hour. So if you guys think it's not going to happen, go ahead and do it.
What you just saw right there was awesome for me. That passion just popped out of him right there. That passion, I just heard it in his voice. And what that means to me is, you're going to make a bad choice, but don't make a choice to get behind the wheel under the influence of something. You're going to go to a house party with Gabrielle probably, because she knows where the good parties are, apparently. If you go to that party with Gabrielle and you choose to imbibe, engage, yes, I mean drink or smoke, I'm not passing judgment. I'm not throwing no shade on you. Not my issue. What I'm begging you to do is make a good choice. Call somebody. Call your mom. Call your dad, grandmother, uncle. Call a friend who's sober. Call Mr. Brace. He'll come get you. I say it all the time. I don't want to. He will come get you. He will cuss you on Monday. He will come get you. He will. Uber. I know y'all got it. You're going to make a choice. And you know what? If you make a great choice and you don't drink and don't smoke, but your buddy does, also okay by me. Find another ride home. Find a ride home.
Judge Spencer, you were an attorney before you became a judge, right?
Yes, sir.
What do you think it costs for an Uber from here to your home right now?
That's smart, Judge. Probably 25, maybe 20 bucks.
Well, as an attorney, what would you charge a person with a DWI?
Maybe 20. Mr. May, how much would you charge, sir? $2,000 to get in the room?
Man, I wasn't charging enough when I was practicing. I feel bad now. You were getting cheap. It was $1,500, but that was 15 years ago.
That's $2,000 to get in the room. In the courtroom. That lawyer back there said to pay $2,000 to get in the room. Well, he went to high school for 12 years, then he went to college for 4 years, then he went to law school for 3 years. They practiced law for like 50 years.
Sorry about that one.
I mean, I meant 15. I'm sorry.
Is it worth $2,000 to keep you from spending 45 days in jail?
Sure is.
I think that's a pretty good deal. Isn't it smarter, though, to pay $25 to do an Uber than $2,000 and have a criminal record? You know, even if you don't get convicted, that's out there. That stuff's out there.
Gentlemen, I need to change gears and let Euro go get some water and go on a bathroom break. Officer Mckay, Sergeant Vaden have to get back on the road. Before they go, any questions about them before they go? If not, can you please give them applause? Thank you.
Thank you, Trooper.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to change gears real quick. You know, we do a lot of stuff in this building. By stuff, I mean we do civil law, we do criminal law, we do family law, we do it all. And sometimes cases just stick out in my mind. And sometimes they hit home. You heard Judge Morrissey say that putting in jail somebody in jail is the last resort. For me, jail is the absolute last resort. Because it's awful. It's awful. And I'm denying somebody their privilege, their liberty to be up and around. And if it's you, I'm taking you from your mom or dad. Take it a step further. I'm taking you out of school where you have the right to have an education. I believe education for you is a right you have. And I fight for it every day. Pulling you out of school to come see me, I'm denying that privilege. Take it a step further. Putting your mom or dad in jail means you don't have a mom and dad at home. That's on me. I don't know who's in your home. Your little brother, your baby sister, your 95-year-old grandmother. I take your parent out of your house, your life, I'm wrecking a whole family. Jail for me is the last resort. Sometimes you got to. I had the responsibility of trying a case not too long ago. And I don't even tell the story right. So I asked a friend of mine, now a friend of mine, he wasn't my friend then he was just a prosecutor standing in front of me. He's now left the office here, gone to do bigger and better things, but I asked him to come back and tell you about the case he tried, because this case is that important. It's a case that we tried right here in Anne Arundel County. It happened here in Anne Arundel County. Mr. Lerner, will you please tell us, these ladies and gentlemen, about that case you tried involving case on Donato?
Good morning. So like Judge Spencer told you, so I was assigned a case. I was a prosecutor here. Judge Spencer was the judge that got assigned to the case. So he invited me back. I left the office not too long ago. I'm a prosecutor elsewhere now. But he invited me back, and I'd like to come back just to share with you guys this case. To hope you guys can learn something from it. You guys can take something from it. Because things are real. These cases happen here. This is a real case. I know you guys probably hear a lot of stuff in this program elsewhere, and maybe it just sort of goes over your head. You think, that's not going to be me, that's not me. This case was here. It involves people just like you, people that grew up here, people that aren't that much older than you when this happened. Good people, right? That's Ryan Jeffries. Okay, I'm going to introduce you a little bit to the people that were involved in this case. He grew up here, South County. He was a good kid. He graduated, went to college, got a master's degree.
Graduated from our county, right?
Yeah, graduated high school here in Anne Arundel County. Never in trouble. This case on Donato, another good kid. He lived here. Okay.
Yeah, by y'all, he lived in the Severn Hanover area. Lived by y'all. He does.
Right. These are individuals that are just like you. They were never in court. They'd never seen a courtroom, never been involved with the law. But in this case, something happened, and you'll hear a little bit more about that brought them together and brought them involved in the court system, okay? And so this started back in December of 2015, okay? It started with a 911 call.
to middle 170. I mean, just totally ran, and the car just kept going. Dude, the stairs. Dude, the stairs. Right up the street from the fire department on 170. He's dead. Right past the car on the street. He's done. He's done. Yeah, a kid just got hit. We literally just got raped. In the middle, 170, right up past the door. Now he's on the right-hand side. He just got ran over, and the car is there. It's literally on the right-hand side, across from the trailer park. Across from the trailer park on 170, past the fire station. On 170, headed up to North Arlington, on the right-hand side of the road. Oh my God. What's this intersection? There's no intersection. He was literally out in the middle of the road. I went past, and I happened to see him, and all of a sudden the car was coming up behind me and ran him right over.
Okay, is it near Florida Avenue?
He's way before Florida Avenue. I kept coming because I didn't see what was going on.
What's the intersection where he was?
Oh my God, he was way up where 90 bar is, the bar 90.
What?
90, the bar on 170.
Okay, what's the intersection, sir?
There is no intersection.
What's the closest intersection?
I guess it's, where's the closest intersection? Maybe where the fire station was. I don't know. Virginia Avenue. I'm getting ready to turn around and come back. Oh my God. I live right up the street. I'm turning around and coming back.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I get your name, sir?
So Anne Arundel County Police got that 911 call. That's the real 911 call that they received. Officers were dispatched. They were there within about 4 or 5 minutes. They got to the location where that witness described what he saw. Okay, but when the police got there, you heard what that individual said on the 911 call. But there was no vehicle there when they got there. Okay? All that was left when they got there, what they found when the police arrived on scene was that, okay?
Hey, me, y'all know where that is? It's Telegraph Road, right there by the, it's now the Severn Grill, by the trailer park. Jason's Landing. Familiar? Making sense? That's where that is.
Okay? That's Kason Donato, right? The kid, the individual that we saw there in that second photo, he's dead. That photo you saw of him holding his son, he was in his early 20s, his son Bryson. That was taken that day. Okay? Police respond. They find Mr. Donato deceased. They find evidence at that scene linking them or allowing them to link the driver to the accident. They respond to that driver's home. They make contact with him. That individual was Ryan Jeffries, the guy in the first slide. The guy I told you that had never been in trouble before, graduated college, had a great job. What they found out that Mr. Jeffries had been drinking that night. He had been drinking. He drove home. He killed somebody. And now the police are at his front door arresting him, right? That morning, Mr. Jeffries woke up. It was a normal day. That night, before he went to bed, he consumed alcohol. He drank. Someone who'd never been in trouble before. Now he's under arrest for killing somebody. Kason is dead, and Mr. Jeffries is looking at who knows what. Decades in jail. He doesn't know. He's killed somebody, right? And just think about that. Somebody's dead, and now Mr. Jeffries is going to sit in jail. And you heard what Judge Spencer said about bail reviews and all that, sitting there before trial. Once you're convicted, you plead guilty, or you're convicted at a trial. Think about everything that you could miss. Maybe you have kids, your parents, your friends. You have plans to take a vacation or do something fun. Well, now you're sitting in jail for who knows how long. right? One choice. One night. That case was assigned to me. Mr. Jeffries was charged. Mr. Jeffries hired one of the best lawyers in all of the state, right? So you might think, well, if I get in trouble, my parents will get me out of it. He hired one of the best lawyers in the state. It came to court, it came to trial in front of Judge Spencer. And he was found guilty. That's Mr. Jeffries. Mr. Jeffries was found guilty after a trial. After, I don't know how much money he paid that lawyer. It didn't matter. Guilty. Then it's up to Judge Spencer to sentence him. Okay, the state gets to stand up at sentencing after he's found guilty. Kayson's family gets to stand up and tell Judge Spencer about how this has affected them. Okay? He's looking at jail. He's looking at prison. Right? Judge Spencer talked about you don't want to spend the weekend in jail before you get a bail review. You definitely don't want to go to prison.
Mr. Leonard's being generous to you. He's being polite. That trial took more than just 20 minutes. It took hours and days. The pictures you saw are the G version. Mr. Lerner presented the case. He had big blow-ups of the scene. Case on. Did you show him the backpack that got knocked across the...
Kayson's backpack, his shoes got knocked off. There was pictures of where the officers found his shoes, found his backpack, found the debris from the car, from Mr. Jeffries' car.
The action reconstructionists brought in the car pictures. They were under the car. They had the bumper. I mean, this was a drawn-out trial. At the end of the trial, I found the evidence sufficient to convict Mr. Jeffries, and I did. And Mr. Lerner stood up, and he's being modest. Because he stood up and asked me to do what was right, appropriate, and fair. What do you want me to do?
Put him in jail, right? Judge Spencer says he doesn't like sending people to jail. I don't like asking a judge to put somebody in jail. Sometimes it's necessary, right, to protect the public, to punish somebody. Mr. Jeffries took a man's life. He took Kayson Donato's life, a father, a son, a husband, a young father, took his life because he made a choice to drink and drive.
I think Bryson was 2. Kayson has a mom. I listened. And I say this, and I remember this is my old age, I probably just shouldn't do this, but that day, when Ben spoke, Mr. Lerner spoke, I was done. I was enraged. I was sad. I did it. I've told him since. I wrote it down. Every single last day of jail, the law allows me to give that man, I'm going to do it. I didn't even hear from Mr. Jeffries yet. I was going to do it. That's not fair. I took it back. That was emotion. So I let Mr. Lerner go on. And what'd you do?
Like Judge Spencer said, I asked him to put Mr. Jeffries in jail. Kayson's mom was there. She got up, she spoke very eloquently about Kayson, told Judge Spencer about Kayson, about his life, about what he meant to her. She had some words for Mr. Jeffries, and maybe not the words that you'd think. She got up and she apologized to Mr. Jeffries for what he was going through. The man that killed her son. She had nothing but love for everybody. It was an eloquent statement. She sat back down. The defendant has the last word in sentencing. That's what the law says. That's how it goes. So Mr. Jeffries got up. He apologized. He had some words for Judge Spencer. His lawyer had some words for Judge Spencer. And then right before Judge Spencer was about to hand down the sentence, announce what was going to happen to Mr. Jeffries, Kayson's mom stood up again. And she said, Judge Spencer, I need to say something else, right? This is something that doesn't happen, right? The defendant gets the last word.
In our system, they have the absolute right, the defense, to present the last word, the final word. Mr. Lerner had done that for the state. Mr. Jeffries was there, but the lawyer did their part. At that point, it's my time to do my job. And a woman with the most courage, heart, and love stood up. That's Kayson's mom. And after she apologized to Mr. Jeffries in court, she asked me, no, she begged me, Judge, you can't put him in jail. Kayson's life's got to mean something to someone. You can't put him in jail. She walked behind the tables, over to Ryan Jeffries again, gave that man a hug. I'm a grown, fat, old, bald man who does a little bit of stuff in this courtroom. I had a courtroom full, big, large bailiffs and officers, grown women. Everybody was crying. He cried. I cried. I got down off the bench, went to my office. Before I put somebody in jail, I go to my office, I have a guardian angel over my robe, I touch it, I say a prayer for that person and their family, I come back and do my job. So now it's time. I gotta do what I gotta do. Who says Ryan Jeffries should be in jail? You're dang all right, that's what I said too. Who says he shouldn't be in jail? Why not? This is the ultimate one. This mistake took someone's son, someone's father, man. Let him go?
Instead of pushing that person away from society, what we should do is bring them back to society.
Bring him back?
No one's bringing Kayson back.
You know what I did? I got off my bench. I walked around the table. And I hugged the strongest woman I ever known in my life. And that's Kayson's mom. Because she was there and she begged me. Monica Donato was in the court. She saw the pictures for the first time that day. For the first time that day of the trial, she heard the 911 tape. She'll tell you that morning is the last time she talked to her son. But she stood right here, right next to him, and begged me not to put him in jail. If that doesn't move you, nothing will. Been doing this program now for a couple years. This case just came forward not too long ago. And now, every time I get to do the program, I used to ask Ms. Donato to come back. I no longer ask her. Because of this case, I have a new friend in my life that is a friend beyond friendship. Ms. Donato doesn't live here in Maryland. She lives in New Jersey. She drives down 4 times a year to be in this room, to ask you to listen to what she has to say, and to make sure Kayson's passing does not go for loss, for nothing. It has to mean something to somebody. You said it. She begged me. Well, Monica, what did you say?
Good morning, everyone. I've never been through anything like this in my life. And I thank your parents for allowing you to come. I appreciate your teachers for allowing you to come. And I'm grateful that you're here to bear witness to this. Because every day, I'm quite sure you experience some form of hate, or an angry person, or someone that's bitter and they're frustrated. and their ways and actions project that. But how often do you see someone standing here that's going to speak to you about love and how your ways and actions can impact someone just by embracing them with a hug or grabbing their hand, saying good morning, and asking them, how was your day? I want you to see it because I'm real. And my son's death will not go in vain. This is very real. 4 years this December 13th coming up. I barely sleep still. My eating habits are poor, but I still eat potato chips and hot sauce every day. But every morning I wake up, I thank God for bringing Judge Spencer, Mr. Lerner, Ms. Holley, the law enforcement team that comes here, everybody in this program, Ryan and his family. I thank God that they bring us together so that we can show you what love looks like. And we don't know you at all. At least I know I don't know you. But I remember being in Judge Spencer's courtroom for the first time, and the spotlight was on someone that affected me. I've been in a courtroom before, but never been in trouble where I had to sit in front of a judge, but I believe I was on the Judge Spencer's left-hand side.
Yes, ma'am.
And Ryan Jeffries and his family and defense attorney was on the right. And I was sitting there with my husband. I was sitting there with Kaysan's fiance, her best friend, and a few family members. And all I could think about was Ryan's mother and what she was thinking and what she was feeling and how she would be so lost without having her son with her and their family for holidays and family gatherings, and how his mistake could tear their family apart. And I didn't want to be a part of that. If I could be a part of the healing process, I would do what I need to do to make sure that his mother wouldn't have to go a day without putting her eyes on her son. So I asked Judge Spencer not to send him to jail. Who said he shouldn't go to jail? Which one of you say he shouldn't go? I understand. I do. It hurts like hell, but I understand. But I knew that we could be more of an effect on you here, telling you our stories, versus him being in jail.
Who tells her no? I don't.
She stood up and she told Judge Spencer, somebody's got to do something about this. Somebody has to do something. We can't send him to jail. We have to do something.
You know what I did? I first thanked Ms. Donato, like she just thanked you for coming. That woman has more love in her heart than anybody I know in this world. She thanked you for showing up for school today. She begged. And the thing that I found that makes her most at home when she's here, the thing that I found that makes her most comfortable, at ease when she's here, is Ryan Jeffries. Because she's closer to him than anybody else right now. See? It's like a magnet. In my courtroom that day, that's what I saw. I was going to give Ryan every last minute of every last day, of every last month I could. I had already called for DLC to come pick him up. Monica did that. Monica does that. Ryan comes here to look you in the face. Grown man, made one mistake in life. Again, Ben was humble. Ryan graduated from honors from a school in this county. He can remain nameless. He went to college, a good one, not just the school that I went to that I got lucky to get into. Ryan went to a great school. Ryan got a great job. Ryan does great things for this state, this country, and us every day. He made a mistake. He owned it. He made a mistake. Now he comes back. She has the biggest heart I've seen. He has the most courage I've seen. He comes here, and you can ask him anything you want. He'll answer it right here, right now. I don't make him come. I don't ask him to come. He's not a part of his release. We have our own issues going on with his criminal case. This is Ryan Jeffries coming here.
And she stood up and she begged Judge Spencer to let him out for this. She begged Judge Spencer to let Mr. Jeffries out for you.
Not for the program. We added that. We just figured this would be great. You see cases on TV and in the news. Not you, not your life, not your area, not your community, not your high schools. This is us. The road that Kason passed on, those of you who live over me, even the Glen Burn kids, I drive that road every single day of my life, no less than 4 times. Every day I live that life. Every time this program happens, Monica and Ryan are here. They do it voluntarily. This program's nothing. Skip the program. You walked in, I don't know if you saw it, but Kason's picture's outside there. So is Judge Mallory. Judge Mallory started this program. He had a vision. He was a visionary. You heard him. He's been retired 11 years now. He still comes back and supports the program. We made this part of the program on purpose to touch your lives. Because what you see happening elsewhere, no, it happens right here. Good people make bad choices. He's made it right. At least he's trying. It ain't over. I won't ask them, but I know they communicate outside of schools and court. They communicate outside of just me. I'm a grown man. I'm not saying that I cry every time I have this program. I have a bad day in my life. Monica will tell you, it was the summer. I had a rough go. She doesn't even know why I had a rough go, but I had a rough go. I was having an awful day, an emotional, awful day. And I texted Ryan and said, Ryan, I need Monica's number. He texted me back because I only had her home number. I didn't have her cell. I interrupted her meal, and she talked to me for about 40 minutes. She's not my mom. She's my friend. That heart is why she's here. She said it, I'm going to keep saying it. Kason's life stands for something. And if it means that you make a good choice, her decision, his decision, make it right. Make it okay for us. Now, I told you, and I'm not making him, nothing to do with me. Ryan's here. Monica's here. You have a question, ask him. Because I was that guy. I was that judge who wanted to put him in jail. I wanted to listen to everything he said until I heard the words that she uttered out of her mouth. Those of you who want Ryan to go to jail, you want to ask him a question? How long was he in jail? Why was he not in jail now? Don't be scared.
Yes, ma'am. I was
Too long.
Too long, almost a year.
Till we came to trial.
I went through all the things that you guys talked about today. It wasn't $2,000 for me, it was $20,000 for that great lawyer who didn't do very good for me.
Or Mr. Learning did great.
No, but he didn't do very good for me because I did wrong. Right, that's the end of the story, is I did wrong. But guys, I want you to understand, I was you. I literally sat where you are right now. I sat where you are. Judge Mallory was the one up here. He was the one up here. I went to South River. I went to this program. I sat here and I saw all these people up here and I said, this could never be me. You look and you say, no, I'm not that person. But you're not that person until you are. Until you make that mistake. And you guys will make that mistake in life, but you can recover from it. You can recover from it. And I want you to please, Judge Spencer preaches about making the right decision. Please listen to this story and make the right decision. But make the decision that this woman made. Don't just make the right decision for you, but today, go and forgive someone today. Doesn't matter what they did to you. Look at what I did to this woman. I killed her son. And she forgave me. She forgave me. So I want every one of you, please, any feelings you have with anyone, forgive them. Find a way to forgive them. This woman, find a way to forgive me. She's like another mother to me. And I mean that. You look at the news, you see black and white, you're taught that they don't get along, you see male and female, that there's so much hate in the world. Look at this love. I killed this woman's son, and she loves me. And I love her. So don't lose sight of that fact. Forgive somebody today. Find it in your heart to forgive someone. Be like her.
I only hope one day I can be as courageous, strong, and humble as Monica Donato. I hope. I hope I have the courage to stand in front of strangers 4 times a year and admit that I killed somebody. Not that I want to, but I hope I have the courage to admit that I made a mistake and I'm willing to make it right. That's what this is about.
All right, don't waste this. Ms. Donato wanted this case to have an impact. Let it have an impact. Let it mean something.
We joke, we jest a lot today, and we'll some more probably, but this is real. That 911 tape, you saw it, is real. Kayson's picture, I challenge you all to look outside. When you go and you leave my courtroom, you look. Can I borrow this? We thought so much of this and of them that I got my team together and said, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I have some smart, great, talented people on my team. We got together, got with Ms. Case, the Board of Education. She empowered us, and we started what we now call the Kayson Donato Judge Malari. It's a award and a program. I think you all have it, a sheet. If not, you get it before you go. Because I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you to do what we ask you to do, is make a good choice or make the bad choice right. But I challenge you to compete. Because a lot of you, like me, shed a tear when you saw or heard this story. A lot of you, like me, shed a tear, and I whimper when I hear her speak or I hear him speak. You're also talented. I want you to compete because what Ms. Case did, she's over here, and she'll see it here from here momentarily, is help us begin and start this program for this award. Judge Malari came here because today we're going to honor those awardees from last year because we had a contest and they won. Congrats to all of you. But the winner's going to have their name on that plaque out there, and someday I'm going to let Judge Malari, I'm going to retire. I'm going to come back to this courthouse because the chief said it's going to be there forever. Kayson's name, his picture, Judge Malari, out there forever. And those who win, their name will be there forever as having competed, having listened and heard, and sharing their talents. So you'll read the description of the criteria, but I want you to compete and bring or give your teachers or give Ms. Case a submission. This is what she asked me to do. If she speaks, I listen. She wanted us to create something that would go on forever, and we're going to do that. We said, I don't want to write an essay. We'll do a poem. I don't want to do a poem. Make me a YouTube video. I don't want to do a YouTube video. Well, sing me a rap. Make me a song. Do something so I can submit it to Judge Morrissey or Dr. McMahon, and I can put it all over God's creation, showing that these students in Anne Arundel County are the best, and that her son's life means something. Not motivated yet? I'm good. Ryan Jeffries took it to another level and said, you know what, Judge? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go see Ms. Case. I'm going to contribute some money. I'm going to raise funds. And now we have a scholarship program where we raise funds. And last I checked, we had over, it doesn't matter how much money, we got a lot of money. Ryan did his part. Judge Malari's family contributed some parts. We ask for other donations. We have money in there. It's not millions and millions of dollars, but it's money in your pocket to help you hit the class you want to take, a camp you want to go to, books for the next school year, whatever it may be. Maybe it's just chill time. I don't know. But we created this scholarship because we want you to compete. Monica Donato asked us to put something together that Kayson's life would always be remembered. This is what we're going to do. I'm committed. The entire team behind me and next to me is committed. This young lady is committed. You tell me how easy it would be for you to come talk to somebody every single day or every other month and admit, or not admit, but talk about the loss of your mother or your father, loss of your brother, your sister, your grandmother, your uncle. Tell me about that. Tell me who could do that. I couldn't. She comes here and stands here and sees this, hears that tape, sees the pictures every time. I'm going to keep saying it for you, not for me. There's one more clip on there. That's Bryson. Can we play that, Ben? If that doesn't bring it home for y'all, nothing will. Now, he's 4?
He's
4. He's going to go to school. He's going to go to high school. And when Monica lets me, I'm bringing him standing right here to tell the next generation about his daddy and that's how he was. Not home for you yet? You don't believe me yet? Monica, tell him about the phone call you got that morning.
Yeah, so this took place December 13th, 2015. I didn't find out until that Tuesday. What was that, 3 days later or so? And it was over a phone call. I was in cosmetology school, and we're not supposed to have our cell phones out. And I had been calling Kayson since that Sunday because we were just speaking just a few hours before then. And he had got bit by a brown recluse spider, so I was concerned. I told him I would drive here, threatened him a little bit, and he said, "No, Mom, I'm fine, I'll call you in the morning," and that phone call never came. So I called him all day Sunday, called him all day Monday, and then Tuesday, I left him a message and said, "I'm going to spend a half a day in school, and then I'm going to drive to Maryland." I was concerned. To not even get a phone call about 30 minutes later that told me my son was dead.
That phone call wasn't from Kayson's fiance. That phone call from Annapolis County Police Department. Say, Ms. Donato, is your son Kayson? I regret to inform you that we recovered his body on the side of Telegraph Road in Odenton, Severn, Maryland. His body's downtown in Baltimore in the coroner's office. We need you to come to Maryland from New Jersey to identify his body. That's the phone call I don't want anyone's parents in this room to receive. That's the phone call no parent needs to receive. I'm a grown man. And the worst thing I do in my life and in my world, make my mama cry. That's what I'm not going to do. I'm going to do a lot. I will not make my mama cry. Not again, because it hurts. And I'm not going to make her cry again. I asked her to come back. She cries every time. Not for naught. I beg you. Before I let Monica and Ryan sit down, anybody have questions they'd like to ask them? Go ahead.
What's something that you guys both like gained from this transition?
I gained a mom. I swear to you, I gained a mother. I text this woman on her birthday. She texts me. She calls me just like she calls Judge Spencer. We talk all the time. What I learned is love and forgiveness. I learned that there's so much good in this one woman right here in the world that it counteracts all the evil that's out there. And that's why I want you guys to be able to forgive, to be able to to love somebody. Just love someone today. It doesn't matter anything. Just love them, give them a hug, think about them, tell them you care about them, tell them you love them, and forgive them.
Yes, sir.
So after this, did you still have a job?
I didn't hear you.
After this, did you still have a job?
Did you have your job?
Because of this woman, I did. Because of this woman, I was able to recover from this. And I want you guys to know that too, because I know there's so much pressure to get good grades, to go to college, to succeed. You are going to slip and fall. You figure out the biggest learning moments in your life are when you've screwed up, when you've done wrong. And you can bounce back from that. So anybody who's going through anything, who's struggling, who, just feels that pressure, just understand that you can recover from it. You can do something so awful in this world. And because of good people like her, like Ben, like Judge Spencer, you can recover from that.
We were able to fashion a sentence so Ryan did not lose his job, and he got cut loose that day, went home that day, that night with his family, because Mr. Donato asked me to. And he was upfront and honest with his employer about what was going on. And the way Mr. Lerner fashioned a sentence, or at least asked me to, with the defense lawyer and what Mr. Donato said, he didn't lose his job. He was on the cusp. Remember, he was held for more than a day. It wasn't overnight. You heard him say how long it was in. He's a good dude, made a bad choice. They kept his job for him a long time.
And I'm sure when Ryan was sitting in there, I think the job was probably the last of his concerns at that point, right? I mean, he was looking at years
Guys,
in jail.
It's the last of my concern at this point, too.
When's the next time he's going to see his family? When's the next time he's going to be able to have a Thanksgiving meal, right?
And you have to be able to live with what you've done. I screwed up. I made the biggest mistake of my life. I made 1,000 million good choices before this. I made one bad one, and it ended someone's life. But because of this woman, I was able to recover from that. She told me to live my life for her, for Kason. And I do. That night, I got to go home and hug my mom. This woman I had made cry, that was ashamed of what I'd done. Let me tell you, the worst thing in the world is to have your parents ashamed of you. And this woman, she forgave me and was able to fix that.
Chief, you've been doing this 15 years?
15.
Have you ever, in your experience, when you're sentencing somebody, a defendant going to jail, had someone move you like Monica Donato moves us or any member of the bench?
I'm having a hard time right now keeping it under control. And I've seen everything. So
I don't know if there's another Monica
I've seen
Donato.
this before, but I just want to say thank you.
I can promise all of you that if you go out and you kill somebody, that person's mom will absolutely not be her and will not ask the judge for you to stay out of jail. I can promise you that there is no other mom that is going to stand up and ask for you to stay out of jail if you kill somebody's son or daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
I struggle with that every day. And when you do something like this, you can never forgive yourself. I don't think I've ever told Miss Donato this, but every 13th I go drive by where the accident happened and I say a prayer for Kason.
Sadly, I think I must pass you because I go there. I live right there. I drop some flowers where I think his body might have been.
And now, every other day of the year, I can't bring myself to drive on that road. I don't do it. And let me tell you, it changes you as a person. You don't want to experience this because you think you're good, you do all these right things, but at the end of the day, you have to live with this every day. And this woman, this man have helped me be able to live with that. And that's why I want you guys, if you're struggling or going through anything or you make a wrong decision, I want you to know that you can recover from it, that it's not the end.
Could I say one thing?
Judge.
Yeah. But first, like everybody else, I'm gonna have to give you a hug. Now, if I heard you correctly, you attended this program
I did, yes, sir.
Okay, you were a student out here.
Yes, sir.
Before I was retired,
Yes,
I
sir.
was doing the program. I was sitting up here doing the program.
Mm-hmm.
You heard what we had to say. We probably did not have a powerful example like this, but we made our points about making good choices. But it still happened. Because there's something in the human psychology that makes you think that it's never going to happen to you. And this is the point I want to make. In my experience, handling all these cases, by 100% drunk drivers think they can drive. There's a catch-22 in there someplace. And they can't drive. But they've been drinking, and they think they can drive. It doesn't work. And that's what I want you to understand here today. This kind of stuff can happen to you. Don't think you're accepted from it just because you are who you are. So before, and you know when you're about to get into trouble, you know. You've had this to drink, you're getting in this car, you're doing this, you're doing that. So the whole point here is, at that precise moment when you know you're about to get into trouble, your brain has to kick in and step back. He was in the program. He heard what we had to say, yet it happened to him. So you've got to fight that thing in human psychology that says it's not going to happen to you.
I want to take a step further. Is that this program 3 years ago was okay. It was great when he did it. When I took over, it was okay. We were average. I was still getting my feet together, my sea legs, getting my team together. We did a good job, I think. They did great, my precious. We did good because I was new, figuring it out. I stumbled upon this case. I was blessed, lucky, and gifted to have Ryan Jeffries and Monica Donato in my life. And now we have the magic sauce. Now this program is next level. Now it's new. Because it is you. He grew up in our county. Her son lives in our county, lived in our county. Bryson does. It's not in Baltimore. It's not in Ocean City. It's not Montgomery County or Prince George's. Right here. Graduate. Resident. Right here. Ryan and Monica have said a lot. I'm going to wrap it in. They keep talking about love and forgiveness. My kids go to school in this county, so I got all the emails your parents got about Unity Day. I wore an orange tie yesterday. Not just about drinking and driving. Not just about drugs and making good choices. It's about being good humans. Ryan said it, I'm going to say it again. I don't care what color your skin is, how bald my nappy head is, because not nappy anymore. I can't grow no hair. I don't care who you love, what you look like. Love each other. Unity Day. I know y'all talked about it yesterday because my kids came home talking about it. Skip all the other nonsense. You're going to make good choices. If these two people don't show you what forgiveness, understanding, unity, and love is, then nothing will. And they say a love fest. This is real. You're going to make a bad choice. Now make that choice right. I dare you to live and tell about it. I dare you to come back and tell me about it. Judge, I messed up. But those people made a difference in my life. I challenge you to compete. I challenge you to submit something. I challenge you all to graduate and invite me. I say it 4 times a year. I want to come to graduation. Dr. McMahon is now giving me a personal invite to everyone at Maryland Live because it's in the county and I can get there for free and I'm allowed in the building. But I can't go without an invite. We are genuine and sincere. Some of your teachers have been here a million times, and Mr. Bracelet can pick on him, but will tell you that there are students here come to my program who I've given my number to. I've given them my cell phone number, and I text them. Text me back. I do text back. I'm sweet like that. I'm cool. I know how to. I got an iPhone 4. That joint's hot, and I can. But you know what it is? It's someone reaching out to me and say, you know what? I'm here so-and-so. I'm not South County. I don't live down there. But I know somebody who does. I know Bobby George. He's behind me. Bobby knows everybody. Bobby has a thing for everything. I call Bobby. Bobby, so-and-so's down in South County. Needs a ride. Bobby calls somebody to get a ride. That's what happens. And I throw no shade. I make no judgments. I just do what I do. I promise you I'm that guy. Because I'm not coming to someone's funeral. When someone stands here and I don't put them in jail and they leave and make a bad choice, I have failed them. The second time around, it might be Ryan's funeral that I'm going to, and I failed him. Failed. I'm going to fall down, but I'm not going to quit. I challenge you not to quit. Before they sit down, any questions from Ms. Donato or Ryan Jeffries? Yes, ma'am.
What job
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Where does he work at?
I'm not going to tell you.
No, like, what is his job?
He's a good guy. I'm choosing not to put that out there to the public. We're being recorded. It's going to be all over God's creation. Ryan works here in Maryland. Does great things.
But I deal with all of those things. He says everything's recorded, everything's all over God's creation, everything's on the internet. And every person you meet, you say, hey, did they read that article about me? And they make that one judgment based upon that one thing, right? They don't know, look at the whole 33, 34 years of my life. They look at that one thing. And
Likewise.
you have to live with that every day.
Likewise, people throw shade and judgment on Monica for not putting that man or wanting him to go to jail. And for me not having the courage to go up to them and do it. I own it. I own every second of it. I didn't put him in jail after that. I'll tell you why. Him going to jail for a little bit longer or a lot longer, what good does that do me? Him coming here, him bringing her with him, it may touch one of you. And if it touches one of you, job well done, team. Job well done. Yes, ma'am.
My question, I don't mean to be insensitive, but I do have teenage children. How much did you drink? And do you remember thinking I shouldn't drive or I should drive? Because that's going to be their question.
One drink is too many. One drink is too many. How many of y'all, when you're home drinking, how many of y'all have a drink and blow the PBT and see how drunk you are? Raise your hand for me. You do? Hold on. First off, why are you drinking? Hold on. And you blow into the thing? Oh, fair. I'm gonna tell you, let me rephrase it. I'm allowed to drink because I'm over 21. And when I'm at home in my basement, it's legal. I have a beer or two in my basement, Chief, but I don't drive. Denise is home. I never, ever get a PBT, blow. I could probably go drive home now. I never go out to a bar and say, I only had one, let me blow. Let me have two, let me blow. How drunk am I now? How three, let me have one now. I have two. Bobby still here? There he is. Yes, sir. I call Bobby. I make no bones about it.
Can I call Bobby?
No.
I didn't know you were offering that service.
He's the boss. He can call me anytime.
In all seriousness, the answer to your question is he drank, and one was too many. If you want to ask him offline, he may tell you how many he had. I'll tell him not to. One's too many. I have 2 beers outside of my house, I call Bobby. It works also for me and my wife. First off, Bobby cusses me out on the way home. Shaem, you're an idiot again. Yes, again. 2, I get home, I have to walk in the door and deal with Denise. That's my wife. 3, I come to work, and there's Bobby all over again. But you know what? Never have I called Bobby and not come to get me. He will always come get me. Always. And on my iPhone 4, my friend, I do have the Uber app. I'm learning. I'm learning. I tell you that because 1 drink is too many in drive. Because you have no idea how that affects you. 2 drinks, too many in drive.
Right, I'll tell you, Ryan testified at the trial, and he testified that he thought he was fine. But he wasn't, right? He thought he was fine.
What did he say? You are until you're not.
He wasn't.
And I would tell your kids this, the reason I drove home that night, I had planned to stay out, to sleep where I was. And the reason I drove home that night was because I had a friend that said, hey, I really need to get home. And I said, okay, I haven't had that much to drink. I think I'm okay to drive. So tell your kids not to cave to that peer pressure, not to do that. That every action you take, you never know what could happen. I never thought I would be driving home and I would end someone's life. It's not worth it. Don't drink. You can have fun without drinking. Your friends are going to love you. They're going to see a free ride. They're going to be like, oh, this is great.
Like Gabrielle. Yay.
Don't do it. Just don't. I don't anymore. I never will. Never again. Because until something like this happens to you, you probably think it's okay, but it's not. Nothing good can come from it. Nothing.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, come on. So we're going to change gears. And as I told you last year, we started this. In this case, can you join me? Started this program. Judge Blair, can you join me? Dr. Mann, can you join me? Yeah. So we are going to do what I promised Monica we would do, and that is we are going to present the awards from last year's program. Last year, all 4 programs we gave every student who came in the building and their teacher the pamphlet you got. It's also electronic. In this case, emails it out all the time. And we had all the submissions come in, and Ms. Case and her team got together, and my team and I gathered, and we judged them all. And from what we judged, we picked 3, the top 3. And as a result of that, we decided we were going to present them today here, because I thought it was important that Monica be here. I thought it was important that the chief be here. I thought it was important Judge Mallory be here. I thought it was important Dr. Mann be here, and Ms. Case, who helped all this come together. So what we did was sat in rooms and read them all, reviewed them all, and we picked the best of the best. It wasn't because it had the best grammar, or it was the longest or shortest. It was the ones, at least from my voting perspective, that moved me, that made me feel like when that student left here, they heard what we said, they digested what we said, and they put it back to us. And so we put it together, and we picked the top 3. I think that's right, yeah. And we want to give these presentations today in front of you students because I want you to compete, but I also want to acknowledge those people who are here because their families are here. It's important to us that you be recognized for great things, but recognized for competing, but recognized for hearing. Because I now know that I can say at least to my boss who's here that we touched at least 3 lives, Chief, and they competed, and they came back, and they're here to accept these awards. So we're going to walk this way. Can we walk that way? And I want to we have all 3 here. You want to start in this case? You want to go? You want to now address them first?
Sure. And I think a really big part of what we're trying to get across to everyone here is we can't get every single one of your peers in this building. We have 3 schools represented. We'll have all 12 schools by the end of the year. But this contest allows you to express yourself and to express the impact that Kayson's life had, that all of the cases that you hear today, that all the choices you learn about today can make. So you get to be very creative and spread your learning. Because one of the student awards we say is a better choice for a better tomorrow. So making those better choices. Will we like the 3? So the 3 finalists, and I'll announce their names, and the school can come up. Otto Britton, come on up from Glen High School. Kanaya Brown, come on up from also from Glen High School. And Trinity Quattlebaum, come up from Southern High School.
So we got together all submissions and went 1 through 3. I'm gonna go 3 through 1. Otto, would you come over here? I want to award this to you. Stand right here between the chief, and maybe Ms. Bernardo. There you go. This, Otto, there you go, is the 3rd place winner from last year, school years 2018-2019. Automated submission. We loved it. It's in our top 3. There's plaques here, and part of the scholarship is a little bit of something in her pocket because we appreciate all that you do. There you go. Can I have that? Picture. Where's the picture? Okay, it's another. Okay, everybody in. Okay. All right.
Steve, are you getting this? I can grab a shot if you want to like it. Okay.
Please. Thank you.
And there we go.
I'll get a couple just in case anyone's wondering. All right, 1, 2, 3. Let me get a couple more here. 1, 2. All right, congratulations.
Second place goes to Janiyah Brown. Needless to say, Trinity is our first place winner, but more important to me than the plaque for Trinity and the scholarship is that today, Bobby and I will get to be hang our first nameplate outside, and I'm proud of that because Monica's here, and she'll get to see it out there. Judge Valeri's here. They'll get to see it. So Trinity will be our first ever winner. She'll be on there. Trinity, your name will be in this building for the rest of your life. Come back and see it. This case I'm about to show you happened here in Maryland. It was not in Anne Arundel County, it was right up the road. But it's a real life story of bad decisions gone wrong. And by that I mean they went really wrong. We hear all about it actually in the news and the epidemic, but tell me what you're seeing in the ER.
If I could count for you the number of overdoses that I see on a daily basis, I don't even begin to know where to say how many overdoses we have. And it's not just people that are regular users that are using every single day and they use too much. It's one Memorial Day we had somebody handing out testers, and this is real life. This is real life. People, and they go and they get free drugs and they overdose. There's people, we're now getting fentanyl laced in our marijuana. So you go and you buy marijuana from your normal dealer down the street, and guess what? It's not what you thought it was. It's laced with fentanyl. And fentanyl will kill you because you will overdose so quickly. I don't have enough medicine sometimes to reverse that overdose. So if somebody overdoses on heroin, we carry the firefighters and the paramedics, and in the ER we have a medicine called Narcan, which can reverse your overdose, right? It makes you breathe again, because that's how you die from overdosing, is you stop breathing. Fentanyl is like 100 times stronger than morphine, and so you die that much quicker because I don't have enough medicine to reverse that. So if you are getting what you think is harmless weed, and it's laced with something like fentanyl, there might not be enough time for me to get enough medicine to you to reverse that to make you breathe again.
That's in the ER. Let's talk about the street. Sergeant Vaden, how many doses of Narcan do you or your officers carry?
All of our officers carry Narcan.
How many?
Each officer has at least one.
So each officer has,
On a scene, we have at least 2 officers. And we're using, probably on average, at least 2 doses before the fire department gets there.
If you overdose on fentanyl, sometimes it can take 4, 6, 8 doses. Because the 1 dose that they carry is good for a heroin overdose, and you might need 2 of those for a heroin overdose. If for some reason you get something stronger, you can need 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 doses of what they carry. My brother's a firefighter, and on their unit, when he rides the ambulance, they carry 2 doses.
You gotta live long enough to get to see Ashley to get all that she has in the ER. 2 doses is not gonna get you there. I'm gonna ask you a question, and it sounds funny to you, but it's legitimate. A drug dealer, what is their end goal? Who said money? Yeah. So if they have a product, what is their goal? Sell it. At the end of the day, all they care about is that dollar, not your health. And a drug dealer wants you to have the highest of highs. Why? Yes. So you're addicted and you come back and you want more. And what do? They make it a little bit stronger and a little bit stronger. How many of you know what fentanyl your dealers use? You do?
Don't raise your hand.
Yeah, I'm glad no one really raised their hand. That's exactly right. Math says, factual statement, that there are at least 5 of you in this room right now, statistically, who have used marijuana or some drug in the past 10 days. That's a factual statement. It's a factual statement. I'll take it a step further. I have the ability and the authority as I stand here right now to ask Bobby to come secure any one of you in my room, my courtroom, down the hall, court assessor, and give a urine sample. I have that authority. I have the authority to call Trooper Fohs back up from downstairs and walk this hallway, right here, up and down. And when Euro sits, she makes an arrest. I tell you that because it's a factual statement. I'm not placing judgment. I'm not asking you who it is or who's not. I know it's true. I tell you that because I know all 5 of you have no idea where that weed you got and smoked came from. I guarantee it, unless you grew it. Unless you grew it. I tell you that because my problem becomes when you go and you smoke that joint thing and it's just that hit, when they want you to come back next week, they put a little something in it. Fentanyl is a big white powder, right?
Mm-mm.
What is it?
Most of the time you can't even see it. The amount that it takes for you to overdose is grains of sand. A single grain of sand is enough to overdose somebody his size. So you wouldn't even know it was there. You're not like, oh, there's white powder on my weed, or like, oh, I sniffed this and it was white powder. Like, you won't know. You won't, and you don't know. It's a grain of salt or sand in your weed, in your little baggie, your dime bag. They're good. And see, this is the best part of the program because is Miss Holley in here? She's not. Oh.
Because this is the point in the program where in my mind I'm thinking right now, Mr. Pacheco, Ms. Hartford, I see individuals who are not looking at me, who will not look at me, who are joking and laughing right now. Soon you're prosecuting them. And Mrs. Holley, soon they'll be your client. And I don't care. It's your business, you want to commit a crime. I don't care. My problem becomes when you have to go see her, because I do care about you. I don't love none of y'all yet. I might someday, but I do like you all. I want to love you all. I am begging you not to go see her. Well, you don't have a choice. You'll be in her brother's rig in an ambulance going down to Hopkins to try and save your life. I was just back there talking to Ryan Jeffries. I made a lot of bad choices in my life, especially when I was young. I'm thankful I live to talk about it and tell you about it, but I'm old and I grew up a long time ago. I'm gonna make a bad choice tomorrow. I'm gonna live to tell about it. I don't want you making choices that you go see Ashley, or you go right down here in the medical center. Then you have to get transported by shock trauma downtown to Baltimore. It is absolutely a factual statement that that 1 grain of fentanyl ends your life. Sergeant Vaden's on the scene. She has 1 Narcan, but she has to call for backup, and he has to get there, or she has to get there to give you the 2nd dose. And P.S., you're not breathing.
That's assuming we got there fast enough to begin with.
It takes minutes from use. I think if there's one thing that I can say that to impart on you, if you listen to anything I said at all, listen right now. If you're, regardless of what's legal, what's not legal, what you do at home, what you do out at a party, don't operate a vehicle. Don't get in a car with somebody who is operating a vehicle under the influence. It doesn't matter if weed becomes legal and you can go out and you can buy whatever you want. You can't operate a vehicle under the influence because that's how people die.
It's a crime. Who cares? Because if you're dead, they're not going to prosecute you.
So, do you think that like most overdoses are going to happen through marijuana or like
It's hard to say because I never thought that it would be mixed in with marijuana, but we had our first death from overdose earlier this year, I believe, from overdose, somebody using marijuana that was laced with fentanyl. So just because it's an opioid and it's normally used with heroin doesn't mean that it can't, like Judge Spencer said, your dealers are not friends. People are trying to get you to use the best stuff so that you come back for more.
It's like a restaurant. They want to serve you a great meal so you come back and eat their great food. Your drug dealer wants you to get a great high so you come back and buy his or her product. Put money in their pocket. It's that simple. It's that simple. The problem I have for you is you don't know what that fentanyl looks like. It's a grain of sand or salt. May not be in that first joint. Could be in the second. And I guarantee you, not one of you in this room, other than Vaden, has Narcan. I go on a limb and say 90% of you don't even know CPR. You're at home, at a house party, y'all chilling, having that drink and having that smoke. You call 911, they're gonna come. Depends on where you are. You're South County, way down there, it'll take a minute. Over there, Glen Burnie, the traffic's bad on 2, it's gonna take a hot second. Getting up there by me, that depends on the traffic, 175 is no joke. I'm gonna keep saying it, that 1 grain is a game changer. Make a good choice.
What's the youngest OD patient you've seen or treated?
That's tough. So I work, Johns Hopkins, the adult and the pediatric, which is the kid side, are separated. I work on the adult side. So for trauma patients, if you're 15 years old and you're involved in a trauma, you'll see me. But I mean, I've seen 15-year-old overdoses, 15-year-old drug dealers, 15-year-olds that are not going home to their parents because they died. I also wanted to say that I do have to run to work, so I won't be around afterwards. But if anybody has questions about nursing, ER nursing, or if they want to do their project for the foundation and they want something to do with emergency or trauma care, please let Judge Spencer know. He knows how to get a hold of me, and I'd be more than happy to help or let you, come answer questions if you wanted to shadow with me in the ER.
All the winners of our program have the option and opportunity to shadow any one of our team members, to include the chief all the way down to little old me. But they can also go with Sergeant Vaden. They can go with Ashley. They can go with Ms. Holley, the public defender. They can go with the prosecutor, Ms. Holmes. Any one of us up here, they can come run the building with Bobby. Anything that you want to do, you put it in that writing. Tell us what you want to do. Shadow opportunity. It's free to you. Your parents will have signed a release in the waiver saying you're with us, and it's good to go. People going right along with Sergeant Vaden all the time. You can go down to see that ER. If you have the stomach for it, I don't. But you can see what Ashley does every day, all day. It's an opportunity that we offer to you because we think that this is real life. But the benefit of the program is not just us in here talking to you, but it's about opportunities to go see what real life people do in real professions. So if you want to, compete.
Yeah. Ask Judge Spencer at the end of the program, okay?
Gabrielle?
If you want my contact info to
Yep.
get a hold of me,
I'll be here
Ashley
before she has to
Spencer.
go to work, but I'll be here before you leave. I'll get your information and I'll get it to your teacher, to her.
Little known fact, that's also my dad, so if you need help, he can also give you my contact info.
I'm not giving out your cell or nothing.
No,
All right, can we give Ashley a hand, please? Thank you.
all right. I'm gonna go to work.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to change gears momentarily. Bye, Ash. Thank you for coming. I invite you to stand where you are. If you want to stretch for 2 seconds, I'm going to ask Mr. George, to shut the video down, shut the screen down. I'm going to ask the lawyers to bring a few cases in. We're going to hear some real cases. Before you get out of here, I want to ask you if you have any questions about what you just saw. You just saw 4 cases coming through the courtroom. Mr. Pacheco and Ms. Holmes have negotiated or spoke those matters with the defense lawyers, Mr. Zwanitz or Ms. Holley. These cases are live. I've never met her before in my entire life, and she's here. She's standing here, probably embarrassing her even more than she already is, but my robe is off. I'm no longer Judge Spencer. I'm just Shaem, some regular dude. But before you leave, I want to give you the opportunity, because I think it's an opportunity, Ms. Holley, when you join me. Come on, Ms. Holmes, Mr. Pacheco's here. If you have a question, now's that time, because you just saw a lot. I know your classes are learning about different things, the structure of government, the process. I know some of you are working on rehabilitation and rejuvenation type of thing. If you have a question, why we did what we did, now's that time. Because I want you to ask the lawyers what they did or why they did it or what happened, what transpired, because this is that moment. I heard those 4 cases as I'm writing my docket sheets for Mr. Ben, the clerk. I'm writing down notes. And just think about this. This is definitely all of you. 19, in a fight with sister over a cell phone, an assault charge, 10 years over her head. Ms. is 20. Someone asked me earlier how many drinks. She said 1 or 2, but she blew a 1.8. She hit a curb. Mr. The young man in the green jumpsuit, he's being held till November. I'm gonna let him out in November. You know why? He's involved in a rear-end accident, he left. I don't know if you heard it, but Madam State said he had insurance. Those of you who drive, you have insurance, it's important. Your mom and dad, or you pay for it. That's what it's for. Accidents happen. He got stopped, arrested, charged, and now he's locked up till November. Mm-hmm. How long has he been in for? A while?
A while.
Because he didn't stop at the accident. It's a hit and run. Nobody was hurt. You still see Miss right here. She's not much older than you. Her mom's right back there, but you heard it. In this county, on our streets, her mom had to save her life. 2 doses, 9 breaths per minute. You heard Ashley tell you, your breathing slows way down. They got to get you back up to breathe normal. 2 doses, she's lucky to be here. I won't embarrass her and ask her how much she paid that man right here and how much her mom paid for treatment at the Hope House, but 51 days is no joke. Mr. May, how much does that normally go? Let's say somewhere else. Don't say Hope House for 28 days inpatient.
Somewhere between $7,000 and $15,000.
Do that times 2. She did that voluntarily. And the Oxford House where she goes and she stayed for a little bit, also not free. She has to pay there weekly and get a job and do chores and give clean urine. If you have a question, I beg you to ask them now, because here they are. This is what we do. This is why we do it. Yes, Gabrielle?
What exactly do you go through? Say you were like, say it was like a topic. I don't know how it works to be a lawyer. 'Cause I don't
How to become a lawyer? Well, first and foremost, you have to graduate high school. Then you go to college. Then you apply to law school. Those lawyers all went to law school for 3 years. You can go at night, work full time, and go at night for 4 years. Then you have to sit for what we call the bar exam. It's an exam we take to make sure we understand the Maryland law and the laws of the entire country. We call it the multi-state. So after college, they spent 3 years in law school. Then Ms. Holley clerked here for a judge downtown. Mr. Pacheco and Ms. Holmes are both here. Mr. Pacheco clerked here. Where did you work? Judge Ackles. So they both work downtown for circuit court judges who have jury trials down there. Mr. Pacheco clerked for district court judges here. So they all clerked. Then they got the jobs where they are.
I've been a public defender almost 8 years.
So I work downtown doing felony, like homicide, everything downtown. But I worked here for 3.5 years.
I was Judge Spencer's law clerk for 2 years.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Holley. How big is your client docket?
I'm sorry?
How big is your client docket? The circuit court versus district court?
So district court, I handled about 30 cases a day. So every week I averaged about 100 clients a week. In circuit court, I do felonies, so anything from homicides to attempted murders to drug dealing and assaults and sex crimes. So it's a lot less, but I think right now I have over 200 open felony cases. So like next week I have 6 felony jury trials set in a week.
Ms. Holmes, check on your normal docket, criminal docket. How many cases do you carry in a morning versus the afternoon?
Mornings, 20 to 30 cases. Afternoons, same thing, 20 to 30 cases.
And what you saw was just 4 cases today, and we had 3 lawyers, 4 cases, but normally we have all 30 set, and we get through all of them. We had no trials today. I'd love for you all to see a trial, but a trial involves a lot more time, and we don't have time for that for our schools of court program. But the matters we had, they already resolved. By resolved, I mean worked out a plea agreement. She knew what she was going to ask for. He knew what he was going to ask for. Ms. Holley, Ms. Walls knew what they were going to ask for. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what they ask. The man or woman who sits up there wearing that black robe gets to decide. They may agree, but that judge, she or he, says what the end result is going to be. And that's very important that you learn that. At the end of the day, he or she chooses. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry? What, a child is involved? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. No, ma'am. So here, I only hear cases, and the lawyers bring cases forward. We have no juries here. Downtown where Ms. Holley works now, the juries decide. So if the jury says the person is not guilty, the judge cannot undo that. If the jury finds a person guilty, sometimes Ms. Holley will make a motion saying the facts do not support that jury's verdict. That's an argument of law. But all 12 jurors must agree unanimously of the decision. So all 12 members that sit in that box have to agree with whatever they choose, guilt or not guilt. Also a question on this side? Yes, ma'am?
I have a question, please. How do you separate your personal feelings to each of your cases, knowing that the judge has the ultimate say what happens to it?
I think, at least I'm lucky, I love my job. My job is incredible, and what I do is so awesome. So sometimes you have tough cases, and my personal opinions don't matter, right? Every person has rights. Every person makes mistakes. Every person, could be in my situation. I could be them. It could be my family members. So I just try to set aside, if I have any personal opinions about a particular case or anything, that's not my job. My job is to fight for rights and to protect people and to navigate them through a really terrible process that's probably the most terrifying thing they've been through. So I just try to separate it. Sometimes I come home and it's a very long day, and I'm grateful I have a husband that sells beer because I can drink at my own home and I'm old. But I just keep my feelings separate from what I do because there's no real place for that.
But I would like to jump in there because Ms. Holmes and Mr. Particular are in the same box. Their personal feelings have no bearing in here because they should do justice. Just because someone's charged does not mean they're always guilty. And it's not just the judge saying that. There are oftentimes Ms. Holmes comes to my courtroom and she walks in and says, Ms. Holley, I'm null prosecuting, means dismissing this case today, right now. Because she looked at it, she understands the facts, the law, or she feels that justice is best served by doing something else other than a plea. Happens all the time. All the time. Their job is to do justice, not convict people or ask for jail. Their job is to do justice. And as much as you think that they may not agree, outside of this room, they're friends. I consider Ms. Holley my friend and Ms. Holmes my friend. When I put my dress on and come in here, it's business. I have no idea what the facts are going to be. I sometimes say, Ms. Holley, the law is not on your side today, sister. Sorry. Yeah. And we fight. We literally argue back and forth. She's respectful and polite. We argue. And I say, you know what? Ms. Holmes wins the day. It happens. It does. Equally as much, Ms. Holmes argues and says, Judge, this person is guilty, 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 and no. Ms. Holley has a good point. That person didn't do it.
That's a very good point you're making there. But as part of your continuing education, I would recommend that you study and read about the U.S. Constitution, because everything that you've seen here today is based on that document that was, and the amendments that were 10 amendments adopted shortly thereafter. But this all goes back to 1787, when the Constitution was adopted by the states, and then shortly thereafter you had the 10 amendments. And that's where all our rights come from. So if you would study that document, you would go a long way toward furthering your education, because that's where we've got freedom of the press, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, all these rights. And the criminal defendants that you saw here today, all of their rights derive from that document. They had the right to be given the specific charge that the state said they were guilty of, the specific charge in writing, so that the defendant can prepare their case against that charge.
All the questions you heard Ms. Holley asking, or Mr. Swan's asking their clients, are those rights that we're making sure they understand. Ms. Holley has to make sure that everybody, or Ms. Swan's, everybody who comes, stands there and tenders a plea is waiving those rights voluntarily, but understands those rights. So they did it here in front of me and you briefly, but outside the closed doors in their offices or somewhere else, they go through all those constitutional rights, trial by jury, trial by judge, rights cross-examined. All those rights they have, they go through them in depth before they get in here. And then we come in here, and to be honest, the question was how many? It's a lot. We see volume in this courthouse, a lot. We see civil and criminal, and we see minor motor vehicle, hundreds. We see a lot. But outside this courtroom is where all the real work is done. The lawyers do all that heavy lifting before they even come to the courtroom. So today when we got here for these cases, they had already spoken, I'm sure, hundreds of times, emailed and texted and called and bantered or negotiated back and forth. Any more questions for the lawyers or anybody else? Somebody different? All right. Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Swans asked this client, Ms. Holley always asks her clients if there's something that would prevent them from understanding what's going on. If the answer is yes, then Ms. Holley's going to tender a different plea or ask for a different evaluation. They're just making sure that people are understanding what's going on. Ms. still here, and I'm going to put her in the box, but she's no different than anybody or most of us or a lot of us in this courtroom. We've all suffered trauma. We always have things in our life. My everyday regular may not be yours or hers or hers. My everyday normal may not be yours, and how I get normal, how I stay normal, may not be how you do it. I may take a different pill, I may do meditation or yoga, I may go see somebody on my own time. But she's just making sure that they understand what's going on. If there's an issue of not understanding the process or able to help the defense lawyers, we got a different rabbit hole, different ball of wax. Gabrielle, you had a question?
Yes, I do. Do you have any stories of like everything that you had in court, like crazy stuff?
Do I have what? I have a lot. I have a book I'm writing. I'm going to write a book when I retire. I want you to buy it because the things I see in court, you'll never believe. You would never believe. We're going to wrap momentarily. Before we write down, I want you to remind something I asked you just 2 seconds ago about the choices. And I want you to think back to Kason and what you saw Kason wearing. The last thing you saw that Monica saw Kason doing was in that casket. Do you know what he was wearing? Who chose it? Monica chose it. The shock trauma video, and who chose what Ron was wearing? Dad. Who chose what Sean's wearing right now? Not Sean. How about when our 4 friends in the car got arrested? They left our courtroom and went back there, came back out. Y'all chuckled. Gabrielle came out. Who chose their outfits? I did. Daggone right I did. I gave them to Bobby, said, Bobby, let them pick. Pick one. I tell you that because if I have to choose for you what you wear, it don't end good for you. take this program very seriously. It means a lot to me. I'm very passionate about it. I make lots of choices. I have a pink shirt on. That's the first thing Miss Holley noticed when she got here, so I got the memo. I told her she knows she's wrong because I picked my outfit last night. Cut my hair last night, picked out a brand new razor this morning. I got a new razor, I set it out so I knew it was a shave this morning. I picked out my socks, I like to be fly. I make choices. I chose this tie on purpose. I choose. He knows he wore that today. He knew he was coming there. He's just showing off because he knows I have nothing from that school except for 1924 that's in my bag. But he chose that. If you come here and you stand next to Miss Holley or you stand across from Miss Holmes, I have to choose. I do not want to choose for you because that means I gotta ask Bobby to step you back. And by stepping you back, that means out that door. That's not the choice I want to make. I've made it and I hate it. I promise you this, there is only one Monica Donato in this world. There's one. Ask Ryan Jeffries, he'll tell you every day is his prayer for that lady, saved his life from jail, ending his career, and a lot more. There's one Monica Donato. Do it over again tomorrow for me. New case, God forbid someone dies in this county and they're standing in front of me and I choose, unless Monica reads about it, comes down from New Jersey, there's a strong possibility Ms. Holmes is going to say, Judge, they need to go to jail. I like Ms. Holley a lot. I called Tiffany outside the courtroom. I'll look her square in the face and say, Tiffany, not today, because Monica's not here. That man lost his life, and someone's going to pay the price. Skip that. Skip that. Let's talk about Ashley. I don't want you seeing Ashley. I have a real live example here, and she's I'm still using her. Narcan twice. Narcan twice. I joked with you earlier. Thank you. You're absolutely right. I joked with you earlier about your dealers. Ain't nobody throwing shade on nobody about what you do in your spare time. I want you to grow up and live, be part of this community where I live, I work, my kids go to school, I play. But I don't want to come to your funeral. Because trust me, if one of you passes, I can guarantee you this, Ms. Case will let me know. And then I'm obligated. I'll send text out, they'll both get it, it'll be a group chat, we're going to a funeral. Bobby, you're gonna drive, because I failed you. You joke, but Bobby will drive, because he's part of this team. I failed you. I failed you because you made a choice and you're dead, and I gotta come pay my respects and say a prayer over your casket because you died. I can't stress that enough to you. But let's a little more simple. Let's back it up a little bit. Not you dying, not someone else dying. Let's make good choices, man. Simple things in life. An application for college, a job application, a ride home, a sporting event you want a player to go to, the band, the play, the musical. Those are all things that when I was young and they were young, motivated us. Not being able to do that, play in that game, that coach sent me for that one practice. I was late. We heard that I was drinking. I wasn't drinking. I didn't drink when I was that young. Motivated me. I don't know what motivates y'all anymore. I'm too old. But I would like to believe that you've seen some things today that will motivate you to make a good choice. You're not perfect. I don't want you to be. I want you to have fun. I want you to graduate high school and do great things. I want you to have a blast in high school. I loved every last second of it. I want you to make a good choice. You're going to make a bad one. Own it and make it right. That's all I ask you to do. When you leave, I dare you, on your right shoulder, you'll see Kason Donato. You'll see Judge Malaria's picture. He started it. He's still here. Kason is there, but Monica's right back there. She asked, and I do. I'm making this important. Kason's life is important to me. You guys out in Meade, Glen Burnie, y'all still around my way. You go down Telegraph 170, December 13th, you'll find me there. You'll find Ryan there. You see the flowers when you go by there, Meade? I know where y'all at. You see the flowers, you know who left them. I dare you, when you walk out, look at that picture. Put it in your mind when you make that choice, do I or don't I? Think about that. It's been our pleasure. It's been fun. It's been real. I hope you all compete. Hope you submit something to your teacher so we can look at it. I'm happy to give you somebody some money. I love giving away someone else's money. It ain't my money. I'm happy to do that. My team's going to be here for a few moments. If you want to come approach them, ask them a question, they're happy to answer them. If you want to reach out to your teachers and get some contact information, please do that for me. Be safe, be well, and graduate. Thank you all for coming. Thank you. Good to see you.